Don't adjust your sets, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch your dials. It's a rare daylight hours treat for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and this is unlike anything we've ever attempted to pull off, I must admit, right off the top here, as we welcome you to the first Friday afternoon of February and our replay of not only Thursday night motorsport for Disruptive Labs GT4 and also, of course, the GSRC Porsche Cup from week 2, which was last week, but also last night's action, week 3. You're very well aware of the current predicament we find ourselves in until we can stabilise and find some sort of plan of attack going forward to be able to ensure a live transmission of this thing. Adam Lavis and I are working around our respective commitments outside of the GSRC to ensure that we can still bring you the full season, just not in the usual time slot or usual form. But it's good to be with you nonetheless. It's a marathon for us, and we hope you'll strap in, buckle up, and enjoy the ride and join us in the fun of the fair. That's the layout for the Long Beach Grand Prix circuit in California. The scene, the setting, the playground for round 2. And the first sprint round of the GT4 Challenge season, of course, with thanks to Disruptive Labs. It is a sprint round, and the same can be said for their third round, which we'll bring you later in this broadcast from the Miami International Autodrome, the newest circuit on the service. So what we're going to do, we're going to tick the box with week 2 firstly. And as I said on social media, I'm blasé to all of it. I haven't seen a skerrick of anything from last week, let alone last night. So I'm flying blind here. We're doing the commentary live. The vision is delayed. It's an as live Friday afternoon motorsport for you to take you into the weekend. And if that's not enough, Friday night motorsport will still be live with Joe Baldwin and Liam Banks here as well shortly after we wrap up. Matt Bailey and Stephen Bull, the front row here. What we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is give you an update on championship points and that entire picture for both categories at the end of round 3. So we'll do all the housekeeping at the back end of the broadcast, at the start of round 3, will we? Okay, start of round 3. And then, of course, at the end of round 3 as well. Matt Bailey, Stephen Bull there, front row. Jordan Malcolm, Stephen Lawrence, second row. Ryan Jones, Andrew Franklin from 3. Brendan Grosh and Lachlan Pryke from 4. Hamish Cleland and Craig Bond from 5. There's Paul Wood alongside Adam Lavis, becoming very good at this whole caper of being in 2 places at once. Scott Haslam, Dale Sharp, Ash Stacey, Eduardo Zamora, Dave Oliver, Justin Kahia, and then Shaden Beaumont and Broden Friend make up the next 5 rows. Beyond that, John Simpson, Jackson Fischler, Tony Baker, Joe Baldwin, Hilton Booth, and Pete Matson. Adam Lavis, very good afternoon to you. Long Beach, always fun from a spectator standpoint, but there's always, here we go, give him something to watch for the rest of the day. Yes, hello, Marcus Watson. Good on you, mate. Well, 1 o'clock actually, but that's progressive and civilised time, but that's okay. Good on you, mate. Nice to have you on board. Adam, good afternoon to you. A rare treat for us to be able to sit here for 6 hours and talk through 2 weeks' worth of motorsport in one hit. Long Beach, easy to find a trip-up point around here. Survival of the fittest will be the equation of the day, I guess, the narrative. And whoever prevails here will get themselves a good little bit of momentum as far as the championship's concerned.
Indeed, yeah, Concrete Canyon. If there is a mistake, there's not much plot room to navigate your way past. So you can either get lucky and get through, or you can get caught up in a traffic jam. So we'll see how the boys go. And obviously, the first choke point will be the funnel, the fountain at the roundabout. And then this next hairpin in lap 1 is always a choke point, given that everyone comes here at once, and a lot of people forget to brake a little early when we're all sorted back, so we'll see what happens. And it's not even here. Choke point trying to get the race started.
Exactly. They need to find a better way to start racing around here, fair dinkum. It's absolutely messy. It's shambolic. But nonetheless, it's underway for you, ladies and gentlemen. That's a great start from Matt Bailey. Converts pole position beautifully off the line and will lead the field down towards the first quarter. The interesting point here will be the second race. 3 wide on the run towards turn 1. Brendan Grosh down the inside of Andrew Franklin and gets the job done. Have a look at the scene, the setting. It's all about the scenery when you go to the streets of Long Beach, ladies and gentlemen. It looks absolutely spectacular. 12 laps for race 1, 19 for race 2. Strap in, buckle up and enjoy the ride. Having a look at the manufacturers, again, very Porsche heavy at the top end of this field. The 5, trouble. John Simpson's involved, so too Jackson Fischler. Joe Baldwin, Tony Baker didn't even bother starting. And we're down to 24 already, but John Simpson right at the back of the field with a rather crunched up looking Flash Graphics Mustang. On the subject of manufacturers, Porsche heavy, 5 in the top 7 at the moment. Also representatives behind the wheel of both the Mustang and the Mercedes in the top 12. 2 Mustangs and the rest are Mercedes, in fact. So 5, 5 and 2. Yes, there's a McLaren out there in the form of Jackson Fischler. Yes, there's an Aston Martin out there in the form of both Ash Stacey and Hilton Booth. And yes, there's representatives or representation of BMW as well in the form of Dale Sharp and Eduardo Zamora. So 6 manufacturers available. Disruptive Labs GT4. 1 lap in the books and done. Jordan Malcolm's got by Stephen Ball, jumped up into the second spot. Ryan Jones, Stephen Lawrence has swapped around. Brendan Gross and Andrew Franklin have stopped around. No movement, Lachlan Pryke, Hamish Cloven. Paul Wood up 1, Scott Hasselhoff 2, Craig Bond down 2. There's your top 12. And Adam Laver's just easing into it there in 13th position. So, races 1 and 2 from here, to be followed by races 1 and 2 from the open split of the Porsche Cup from Monza. Some big news brewing there too, ladies and gentlemen, which we'll bring up to speed on when we get to it. And that field at Monza has to be seen to be believed. And we'll hopefully pretty much give you an idea as to what we're going to tell you. Answer the questions that you'll have once we get to week 3 action. We'll also bring you the feature race from the elite split from Monza. Then we'll turn it around. 2 more sprint races from GT4 and then the Porsche Elite Cup from Imola, which is just a single 40-minute race. So a huge afternoon ahead here on the platforms of GSRC, local, live, exclusive and free, or as live in this particular case. Right, down the inside, all trouble, gone. So Lachlan Pryke and Andrew Franklin. And it's a bottleneck there. Craig Bond's got nowhere to go. Dave Oliver, Dale Sharp. Actually, no, Bondy got through, my apologies. I wasn't sure exactly who that was. Andrew Franklin, Beaumont, Sharp, Stacey, Oliver, Zamora, Cahir and Frendel compromised in part due to that incident. Lachlan Pryke, the protagonist, Andrew Franklin looking at the back of the field. Jeez. So that's allowed Bond to go up into 11th spot. Pryke has lost 4 spots back to 12th. Adam Lavis, the beneficiary in all that, gains 2. No movement in the top 10, really. I mean, that was an incident that wiped out 6th and 7th. So if you're 8th, 9th and 10th, you've made some inroads, but the top 7 remains unchanged pretty well. Hamish Clelland up 2 spots. Ryan Jones in 4th at the moment. He didn't mind throwing some bait yesterday, let me tell you. And I haven't been back to the Porsche Cup Discord chat thread since. Jones to the outside, has on the inside, that's Stephen Lawrence going around, he's outside. He'll be on the inside for the hairpin, and then it'll be a drag race down the main straight. Lawrence has got through and got it done cleanly. Now he's under pressure from Brendan Grosh. Right on board with Grosh now. Down the main straight. 3 laps gone. Matt Bailey fastest up of the race, 1:24.545. To the first corner. Oh, that's beautiful. Great line being taken through there by Brendan Grosh. Trying to find a way through on Ryan Jones, but overtaking opportunities here come at a premium, and that's the point. So for the second race, invert top 10. So Matt Bailey, Jordan Malcolm are going to have a bit of work to do from the 5th row of the grid. They will be aided by the fact that they can adopt some strategy play into the mix here with the compulsory splash and dash. Of course, that was a point of discussion the other night, was it not? In Super Formula Light, the fact that we had a couple of the boys, Dan Yeaman, Sam Chapman, Connor Nixon up to their usual tricks with the fuel save, knowing that it was on. Chapman and Yeaman pulled it off beautifully. Connor Nixon, unfortunately, chug-a-lugged his way to the line. But this is going to be interesting for mine because I was watching, we're watching Ryan Jones on screen at the moment. Greg Heaton mentioned me in a comment in the Porsche Discord thread yesterday, and I very seldom visit the Discord thread. of anything, let alone the commentary and broadcast chat threads that I need to stay across, ladies and gentlemen. That's because there's just so much in there to try and absorb. I only duck in when I absolutely have to. And the notifications pop up on your screen and they disappear before you click on them, and then you can't find them. Oh, who knows? Anyway, so I saw a comment in there yesterday because there was obviously some discussion about this broadcast. So I clarified that for Greg and all the Porsche brigade. And then Jonesy started to chatter about what can we do to spoil it for you so you know what's going on before you. And I was like, challenge accepted. You won't do it because I'm going to depart exit stage left and not revisit this chat thread until well after the broadcast is done. So good to see the banter alive and well. And Jonesy, who works in the media, so knows what spoiler alerts are like and knows the rigmarole and the protocol with embargoes and everything else. Good to see that he was willing to throw me under the bus and spoil it for me before we brought it to you. Nat Bailey, Jordan Malcolm, Stephen Bull, Ryan Jones, Stefan Lawrence. Stefan, of course, having got past Ryan Jones. That's him on screen there. In behind Stephen Bull, of course, you've got Jordan Malcolm chasing Matt Bailey at the moment. 0.85 the margin. We've picked that battle up. Bailey for Summit Sim Sport. And then Riot Sim Racing's Jordan Malcolm in behind. Good to see another recruit there for Riot with the recruitment of Jordan Malcolm. That's really cool. Stephen Bull, Rapid Team Ren Sport. Stefan Lawrence, Ryan Jones dives deep at turn one. Kept it off the wall, but loses out to Brendan Grosh as a result. Unlucky for Jonesy. Just a little bit too late on the anchors into turn one, into turn two rather. Couldn't pull it up, and the consequence is that he now drops down into 6th position. But still, on track for good points. And as we know, Adam Lavis, especially on a week like this, consistency and just banking those vitally important championship points can go a long way when you get to week 10.
Indeed, as we pointed out at the top of the broadcast, this is one of those potential hazard rounds with the element of danger at a higher level than normal. So getting through this round with a good haul of points is always vital. Although this first race here, we've had, other than that contretemps at the last corner and end of lap 2, it's been relatively incident-free. So the boys are doing a good job here to keep it clean and try and keep their cars nice and straight.
And I'm holding my breath and waiting with bated breath and anticipation to see if they can do the same in race 2. Because as we so often see in sprint rounds, the carnage, if any, I mean, they usually let the fireworks off in the opening stages of the scramble that is that invert race. Once the packs bunched up again and inverted to the point where the fast guys are trying to weave their way through. That's where the recipe for potential trip-ups and hazards and drama really lies as far as this round is concerned. Half-race distance has come and gone, folks. Of course, as far as the clock's concerned, they are 16 and 27-minute races here. But that equates to 12 and 19 laps. Down the back straight. Bailey, Malcolm, Bull, Lawrence, then Grosh, then Jones. Folland in 7th spot. We've picked up Dave Oliver, who's got Eduardo Zamora for company at the moment, as they make their way around. If you're tuning in like Marcus Watson on a Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to say good day, interact with the chat on YouTube and Facebook. It'll be running live all afternoon. Let us know what the plans are for the weekend. It's a relatively quiet weekend on the motorsport front, isn't it? Of course, the eyes of the sporting world very much on Milano Cortina and the opening ceremony tomorrow morning, early hours of the Winter Olympics for 2026. And coverage continuing on the Nine Network pretty much as soon as we're done here, 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Now, for progressive and civilised states, tonight's coverage runs in its entirety on 9 on the main channel. But there'll be one of those really unnecessary channel changes for South Australia, the slow and steady state, the Northern Territory and Western Australia at 7:30 local time. right through until 3 a.m. and then, of course, the opening ceremony. Weekend today, tomorrow morning, good to see, we'll be live in the wall markets around Australia from 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Straight after the opening ceremony. Sprint race 1 of 2. You're welcome. Good to have you on board. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that handle. Jordan Malcolm. Going well, mate. Going well. And, of course, good to see some change in your world for the better, of course, jumping up into a Riot stable. I think we've already spoken about that, but obviously it's worth acknowledging for people that have popped in and out as the summer's gone on, haven't been here for all of our broadcasts so far. Heck, I haven't been here for all of our broadcasts so far. Of course, the Australian Open's been on, the Big Bash, all the summer sport and fanfare, now the Winter Olympics. So if you're new to the GSRC platforms or returning to our platforms, Jordan Malcolm has recently gone from one team to another, but in between that he had a privateer stint as well. He was just waiting to see what the world had to offer him and what was going to, work best for him. And he's now jumped in there very nicely with the Riot stable, who were a prominent team in our Porsche Cup offering last term, it's fair to say. Oh, scrape of the wall. Was that Woodsy? Jeez. Fair whack of the old concrete there for him. Hello, Mr. Heaney. Got the headphones on, listen to the commentary to drown out the office. Good boy. And everybody getting around Jordan Malcolm. That margin that Matt Bailey enjoys over him at the moment's out to a second. This is a bottleneck here. That's another scrape of the wall. That might allow Paul Wood an opportunity in the slipstream and draft down the main straight. Ryan Jones under pressure from Hamish Cleland as well. So this battle is nice and spicy, nice and fruity. Down the main straight we go. Or the main curve, really, let's be honest, on the streets of Long Beach. Paul Wood opts out of having looked down on the inside of Scott Hasler. Look who's 10th, ladies and gentlemen. Look who's 10th. Also doing a nice job on the buttons for us this afternoon. Currently staring down invert pole and the Mustang. How are you finding the Mustang to steer this season, Adam? I mean, obviously, it would seem as though this is a very Porsche and Mercedes-friendly circuit, but we're hoping that'll turn around in favour of the Mustang somewhere else down the line as far as this calendar is concerned. We know you've got to plan for the whole 10 weeks. You've also got to go for creature comforts, but it's nice to see you and a few others staying true to the Mustang.
It definitely feels better than last season, but it still has its quirks. Though. It is an American Yank tank, so it's got all the horsepower and no brakes. So around here, where it's all stop-start, not the best. So it wasn't the ideal car for this track. But some other tracks where it's either fast and flowing, or it's got some nice long straights where you can open the taps. She's not bad. Oh, here we go. It's on.
Hey. Oh, it is on indeed. Jonesy was wide there coming onto the main straight. That's going to make him vulnerable potentially at the end of the main straight. He's trying to have a run on Hamish Cleland as well. Scott Hasler and Paul Wood in there, firmly in the mix. This is a good little squabble for position number 5. Jonesy to the inside, no. Wood having a little bit of a bo peep as well, but he backed out of it. They go through line astern. You're right. B. Grosh, good to have you on board. And running 5th at the moment. That is much easier to A, read and B, pronounce. Very good stuff. You poor Jonesy, driving back from Benalla, Kelly country, the bitumen equivalent of a clothesline. I feel sorry for you. That says more about how I stand on that circuit than anything, I guess. There's Stephen Bull down the inside. Stephen Lawrence trying to get him through here. Bull is wide. That's going to open the door nicely for Lawrence. And he's going to have to hang tough. Bull scrapes the wall. Lawrence will get the run on the line. But watch the power of the Mustang. No, Bull yields. Bull yields. And through goes Lawrence to third. It's a Porsche lock out of the podium. White flag in the air. Wowee. Bailey, Malcolm, Lawrence, Bull back down the outside. Lawrence to the inside. Holds sway for the moment. John Simpson and Pete Matson. Pete Matson a retirement. John Simpson a lap down. Everybody else on track to finish. Although it looks like Justin Kahir might be vulnerable to going a lap down very late in the piece. This is a cracking scrap for 7th. That is Cleland holding off Jones, Hasler and Wood still. Adam Lavis is starting to become vulnerable to Lachlan Pike, who's within 7 tenths of a second of him. So one little slip up from Adam, and that could spell curtains as far as his push for an invert pole is concerned. Bailey, Malcolm, Lawrence, Bull, Grosh, the top 5. Grosh, of course, the first of the Mustangs. The first of the Mercs. Bull, the first of the Mustangs. But it's Porsche power at the top of the field. And right, Sim Racing are going to go 2-3, but Matt Bailey and Summit Simsport are going to draw first blood in California on the streets of Long Beach. Chalk up victory number 1 for Matt Bailey tonight. Nicely done. Gets the better of Jordan Malcolm. Stephen Lawrence will go 3rd. Holds off Stephen. Bull! Paul Wood down the inside. Jonesy involved in this as well. Oh, this is going to get ugly. Have a look at that. It's a roadblock on the way out onto the main straight. Bull, Grosh, Cleland come through unimpeded. Jonesy's reversing across the line. I'm not sure iRacing will cop that, especially when it's for about 300 metres, Jonesy. I'm not sure what you're able to do before they wave the black flag at you for dangerous driving, but you got to the line and that's all that matters. It's 12th, which means the invert pole now goes to Scott Hasler. Adam Lavis has come home 8th and all that. Oh, wow, well, waiting for the fireworks. Last corner, opening heat will do it for you, ladies and gentlemen. Top 5 unchanged, top 6 actually unchanged. Hamish Cleland came through 6th. Paul Wood, 7th provisionally. I'm not sure what Action Race Control will take over that last corner incident. But let's have a look at it again if we can. This is the first of the replays for you. Jackson Fischler just bowling it wide at turn 1. There was the incident with Pete Matson and John Simpson beside him. And Fischler took to the escape road and had to reverse back on. This was the view from John Simpson's cockpit. Bang. Similar to what Jonesy did, except Jonesy was able to pull it up. Now, this was Andrew Franklin, his incident earlier in the piece. Again, very similar to that last lap incident, contact of cars.
Freedom.
And I was right, one of the Bond entries, it was Bondi that was caught up in that. What the hell? Madness, absolute madness. Pete Matson on the run down towards the first corner, and that was Pete just saying, you know what, I've had enough. Thanks, but not for me. See you, Pete. All the best, mate. We'll be back next week, I'm sure. Maybe even later today. Justin Kahir to turn 1. Oh, how many times do you see it at Long Beach? That tyre wall. One of the more famous in world motorsport. Claims many a victim year on year. Fischler again, this time didn't pull it up, got the wall. This was Ryan Jones on the inside here. Paul Wood in behind. Oh, okay, so it's a knock-on. So Paul's got into the side of Scott, and then Jonesy's just gone on a kamikaze mission, really. We've seen it in NASCAR, we've seen it in other sports. Now we've seen it in GT4, and I know that there's a threshold from iRacing with regards to what's acceptable and what's not, but reversing across the start-finish line, but he's got away with it somehow. And he's come home in 12th.
It's the iRacing thing. It's not reversing reverse gear. It's reversing direction of track is where it gets you.
Oh, okay, righto. So you can reverse as long as you're going in the right direction. If everyone else is going forward and you're reversing, that's okay. But if you're reversing and they're oncoming, that's where, okay, fair enough.
I'm sure in the real world, Ryan probably would have got called to the steward's office to explain his case there.
I would have thought so. There would have been a please explain handed down, no doubt. Paul Wood in all of that was 7th. Provisionally, we'll see what that does with regards to the results once the stewards report comes through and once we have a look at the updated standings going into the start of round 3. But there's Paul Wood 7th, Adam Lavis. You're staring down 10th and pole, mate, but 8th is good for the points anyway, and you're 3rd on the grid. Lachlan Price, Scott Hasler. Bondi misses out just, and Jonesy limps home in reverse. Beaumont, Sharp, Stacey, Oliver, Zamora, Friend, Booth, and Franklin, the top 20.
Yeah, that race there, the hairpin was kind of me twice there. The earlier lap 2-1, I was the only one behind the initial incident actually got through. Yep. And then in the second one, I managed to go around the outside again. Got a little bit squished in the wall on the exit, but I managed to gain 2 spots out of it. So I got a bit lucky there on that one.
To be fair, it was really tame. Until Woodsy put one down the inside there, tried to get through. That was really tame, and I thought they were just going to play processional, follow the leader, and come home unscathed. But nope, they had other ideas. So what that means for the grid for race 2, have a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Still daylight there. Hello, Queensland. Scott Hasler, Lachlan Pryke, Adam Lavis, Paul Wood, and there you go, 12:30 in the afternoon local server time, January 29, 2026. Remember, these races were, of course, run last week. Adam Lavis and Paul Wood, 2nd row. Hamish Cole and Brendan Grosh, 3rd row for DPR. Good to have. So you got DPR 3 in the top 6. You got 2 Aussie races in there as well. 2 Riots and a Summit in the top 10. Really good top-heavy variety of teams there. Stephen Ball, Stephen Lawrence, 4th row. Jordan Malcolm and Matt Bailey from 5. Bond and Jones from 6, Beaumont and Sharp from 7, Stacey and Oliver from 8, Zamora, Friend from 9, Booth and Franklin from 10. From 11, you're going to see Fischler and Kahir with Johnny Simpson rounding out the field. No Pete Matson, no Tony Baker, no Joe Baldwin. Don't forget Joe and Liam Banks here with you tonight for Friday Night Motorsport GTE. There'll be a lot of interest in that one because of the venue, but more on that a little bit later on. These are the platforms the Gentleman Sim Racing Club all made possible thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com and Flash Graphics. It's Friday afternoon motorsport. We've just gone past 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. It was that or a 9-point turn. Yeah, that's fair, Jonesy. I'll pay that. Oh, how good. How good. And then probably, if it was a 9-point turn, Jonesy, you're probably not looking at 12th. You're probably looking at 14th, 15th or 16th. So for the greater good of your championship aspirations, yes, probably the right call in the end. The interesting thing for mine will be to see how you go working your way through from 12th, considering that it was supposed to be well inside the top 10 finish for you, but not to be at the very last corner. Right, strap yourself in, buckle up and hold on, ladies and gentlemen. This will get interesting in a couple of moments' time because the top 10 are inverted. You've got a couple of would-be contenders outside the top 10 looking to fight their way back in. All the trip hazards that you associate with Long Beach, plus the onus on these guys to try and pull off some clean overtaking manoeuvres. Down to the first corner we go. Jeez, that was defensive from Lachlan Pryke on Adam Lavis, and Paul Woods right there on his tail. And Craig Bond making an enormous lunge. Bondi's going through to 7th. Andrew Bailey's been left behind. Sorry, Andrew Franklin, I should say, not Andrew Bailey. Andrew Franklin's been left behind. And there's trouble further up. Uh-oh. Matt Bailey's in the wall, the race 1 winner from hero to 0. That all but certainly ensures we'll have 2 different race winners here tonight. Bond and Friend now on screen, running the CBR livery, so that can be a little bit off-putting, but for Northwind Motorsport, of course. We were talking to him on Monday night about this, actually.
Yeah, so far it looks like he's because there's no other North Winds in this, so I think he's teaming up with Bondi for the GT4s, but everywhere else he's running the North Wind colours, as far as I can tell.
Down the inside. 22 on his outside. He gets through on Eduardo Zamora. Next target is Jackson Fischler. Fischler also, of course, under that banner. Uh-oh. Down the main straight we go. Hasler the leader. Good start from him. Pryke is second. Lavis keeping it clean in third. Paul Wood pushing him along. Trying to keep Brendan Grosh, Hamish Clellan and Craig Bond at bay. Good send from Bondi, up 4 spots. And to be fair, I mean, it's very easy for us to sledge because we know each other well away from the GSRC, and he certainly doesn't hold back in giving it to me. But credit where it's due, that was a really good start, and the starts for Bond are actually one of his real strengths. That's a good move too. Stephen Lawrence on the inside of the KFC entry. Oh, trouble! Stephen Ball, goodbye! That is not so finger looking good.
It looked like he had a bit of damage there, so he must have had a little bit of something happening earlier on in the race in the lap 1, or so this was the 2 teammates here having a bit of a crisscross.
Brendan Fischler having at it. That was more like, it wasn't finger looking good, it was clout the wall good for Stephen Ball. In fact, that would have actually been more appropriate to have him running a Petter's livery on that occasion. Oh no, that's messy. That is messy. Friend and Fischler have come together now on the exit as well. Jeez, that's not very clean, is it? Eduardo Zamora, John Simpson to pit lane. Zamora was the one that was rubbing Friend up against the wall. Here comes Matt Bailey down. He's inside on the comeback trail. The wall at turn 1. There you go. Yep, that'll do it. Thanks for the intel, Steve. Appreciate that, mate.
So Bailey's going to re-wing. He also got to hit the rear, I'm assuming. We'll check it out in the race. That's the end of the race.
That's it. Yeah, if you're wondering about that, ladies and gentlemen, it's just easier at this point for Adam Lavis and I, because every time we have to go and run a replay during a replay, if that even makes sense as a sentence, it stops the clock. So in order to get through the replays a little bit more promptly, we're now just doing race highlights at the end instead of as we go, like we normally could do with a live broadcast like SFL or GT3. This is lap 3 of 19. Hasler, Pryke, then Lavis, then Wood, Grosh and Clellan. 5 Mercs in the top 6. Lavis the odd one out in the Mustang.
You're about to see some team orders, which
Poppy.
Well, it was supposed to be team orders, but I think Woodsy had some other ideas.
The rejoin broke my car and then we got stuck. Yeah, okay. That would be EZ Sim Racing. That would be Eduardo Zamora. Oh, Woodsy, come on, mate. You've got to be better than that. You've just carved Adam up.
Gave him the corner, your brakes too late. What's he doing?
Gave him the corner, did the gentlemanly thing, as you so often do. And then Brendan Grosh sees what's going on and was like, I'll have a piece of that. Thanks very much. Oh, no. So, Bondi up at his 7th, Clellan is 6th, Lavis now back to 5th. It's a Merc 1, 2, 3, 4. Grosh is sitting 4th. Clellan under pressure from Bond at the moment. Grosh trying to go with Paul Wood. So if Grosh can get by Woodsy, that'll somewhat be order restored there. Grosh will gain 2, and you two will be plus and minus 1 as you were. Down to the end of the back straight. These guys, of course, have the unknown entity that is the Miami International Autodrome for round 3. That's coming up later this afternoon for you. We will bring that to you about 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, folks, or thereabouts. If we can get going a little bit ahead of schedule, we certainly will. I'm happy to guess that, with the exception of toilet breaks and whatever, this will just be a continuous streamline broadcast unless Adam's got a plan to. I know you are going to break.
Yeah, break it up. A for us to break with B, so that on the YouTube it's separate files for people to go back and look at what they want to look at.
Okay, good. Now that makes sense. So yeah, we will have a break obviously there at the end of the second Porsche Elite Cup race from Monza, and I think we'll need one by then.
Yeah, plus I'll have to change a few settings on the Discord for the new round, so there's a little bit of time to update things.
Cool. I won't say no to that. That'll be the perfect time for me to go and make myself a coffee. Jackson Fischler, what are you doing? He's stuck. He's got himself out of there, but he was stuck for a good period of time.
Cool. You almost got
you can't park there, mate. You can't park there. It's certainly a part of the racetrack that you do not want to get stuck in, because there's no easy way out of there. A bit like Ryan's predicament at this corner a few moments ago at the end of Heat 1. There's no straightforward way to get yourself back straight. Lap 6, Hasler, Pryke, Wood, Grosh, Schlavis, Cleland and Bond, the top 7. No real change there. Don't forget Monday, folks, of course. I mean, I mentioned all the big sporting events that are coming up this weekend, Live Golf, Winter Olympics, etc. But of course, for American sports fans and even once a year NFL fans, Monday morning, Super Bowl, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on 7 and also ESPN and Disney+. So plenty of options viewing-wise for the Super Bowl, straight after the Winter Olympics coverage wraps up as well at 10 a.m. So it'll just be a channel switch from GEM across to 7 for the Super Bowl. Here's Paul Wood under pressure, still, from Brendan Grosh. We'll ride with Grosh here. He can get the run down the back straight here. He might have a lunge, but it would be a fairly committed effort from here, you would imagine. He's to pull that off.
Jonesy and Bonnie have come together. We'll have to go back and watch that at the end, but yeah, so they've fallen back off that cutie.
Hero gear. My commentary mate from Morgan Park a couple of years ago, and the boy from Gundagai. The boy from Gundagai, ambitious, down the inside. Jones wide on the exit, but that'll set him up nicely for the run around. For a sweeper, the left, the double left apex, then the right-hand hairpin. And they're now under pressure from Dale Sharp as well. Bond trying to get the run off the corner, but it looks like he's actually going to pit lane. Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. Bondy to pit lane. Lap 7. Third race distance for you. It's a 19 lapper, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're off to the Temple of Speed, and we can hardly wait for that. That is going to be action aplenty, carnage guaranteed, and we're looking forward to having the company there. Jonesy all on his own that time through, and Jones concedes defeat. Franklin on pit lane now as well. Zamora and Bull out of business. It's all happening here, isn't it?
So race one winner, he's pit stop, got a fresh coat of polish, and his race starts now trying to regain some points here. So we'll have to wait and see how much Matt can get himself back into that top 10 to salvage a result out of this race.
That's it. And that's essentially what it's all about from this point forward. Salvage. What can you salvage? An inch is as good as a mile in these instances, especially with the bigger picture in mind, because even though you've had a bad run in the second race tonight, that could be somebody else's misfortune in the other sprint rounds, Adam. How often do we see it?
It ebbs and flows across the whole season. So there's one thing about being consistently at the front and racking up the points, but there's another aspect to be when you do have those bad nights to minimise how bad that bad effect is.
That's it. Exactly right.
It's very rare you have a whole season that's a flawless effort. So when you do have a bit of a a bit of luck run against you, but the idea is to try and minimise the damage.
That's exactly right. Count your wins in the same way you count your losses. When you get them, take them. Now, I was going to say, normal programming resumes on Monday night, ladies and gentlemen, with Week 4 action. Hard to believe we're up to Week 4 already. The GSRC Waste Options Super Formula Light and GT3 double header. Looking forward to that. Adam and I back here. We're getting very well acquainted with each other this year, considering that we're also doing replays together. 7:40 Eastern Daylight Time, and hope you can join us for that one. Of course, back to 60-minute racing for GT3, so looking forward to that. Sprint racing for Super Formula Light as well from Duncan Park in the UK. Hasler, the leader. But the question is, for how long can he withstand the pressure that's mounting behind him? Pryke, Wood, Grosh have all closed in. Lavis is about 2.5 seconds back off that 4-car battle pack now. Stephen Lawrence has the fastest lap of the race, 1:24.696. Time will tell. Hasler, Pryke, Wood, then Grosh, then Lavis, then Cleland. Pit stops have been completed by Bond, Bailey, Sharp, Franklin, Stacey and Simpson. Ryan Jones is parked up and retired. Going to focus on the drive back from Winton. Sorry, I just swore. Don't mean to do that this time of the day. I feel like every time I use that word to describe the racetrack at the clothesline in Benalla, I feel like I should wash my mouth out with soap. But Hasler, Pryke, Wood, Grosh, Lavis, the top 5 here. We're riding with Lachlan Pryke. It's putting the pressure on Hasler, who's doing a nice job for DPR, holding sway here. DPR going gangbusters with their recruitment this year. Great to have so many of you tuning in via the comments section. Good to have your company this afternoon. A lot of interest, no doubt, in what goes on when these guys go to Miami, knowing that that is the unknown entity.
The funny thing for me, watching her on board there in the Mercedes, was just how nice that thing is over the bumps compared to the Mustang. It's just amazing. Looks like a lounge chair.
Into the stadium section of the circuit. Lavis in 5th, holding off Cleland and Lawrence. We've seen Bond, Bailey, Sharp and Franklin all go through that last time through, so too Stacey and Simpson. Recruitment, watch this space. Yes, I like it, Greg Heaney. I like it. Whenever he mentions the word recruitment, I stand up and take notice. It's been a while since we've heard about him being at the table of negotiation. Exciting times ahead, obviously, for G. Heaney and Whiskey Business, and also the crew at Project X. Jonesy missed his flight to Miami. That's unfortunate. Well, in that case, then see you next week. All the very best. Oh, forceful on the inside. Bailey and Bond. A touch of wheels on the way through, and Bailey goes to 14th. Hips and shoulders and takes no prisoners, puts the young bloke from Younger Guy in his place and says, look, son, I'm enjoying the battle, but I've got bigger fish to fry. Out of my road, please, and thank you. Now he's down on the outside of Dave Oliver down the main straight. Not holding back here. Forceful and aggressive, which is exactly how you've got to be when you're trying to fight your way back through the field on a circuit that's notoriously difficult, not just to master, but to overtake on. And Bailey executed that beautifully.
Well, it's very easy when Dave just rolls over and lets him past.
Yes, and Dave obviously must be up to his fuel-saving tricks, is he? It's not going to do him any favours. He's still got to stop on lap, well, whatever lap it's going to be, but it's only a 19-lap race. We're now on lap 12. for our race leaders anyway. First, second, third, all the way down to, well, Hamish Collins has gone in. Hilton Booth is 7th, so top 7 yet to stop, plus Oliver and Friend. Fischler a lap down, 3 retirements in all of that as well. We'll have a look at some race highlights at the end, including that incident between Jones and Bond. I just realised also there's another point of discussion that I'll touch on with Adam Lavis when we go to break as well, ladies and gentlemen. I must remember to make note of that. Got to do with some of our other offerings here on the platforms of the GSRC. A lot of interest at the moment in sports car racing. Of course, it's that time of the year where GT is front and centre on the minds of Australian motorsport fans, because next weekend, of course, all eyes on the hill climb out west of Lithgow and east of Orange, and the all-day marathon. That is the round-the-clock classic out there. Good luck to all and sundry. We'll have a 90-minute GT3 race at the same venue. That was Beaumont scraping the wall. The 23rd of February. And we'll be bringing you the Pro-Am split on that occasion. Here's Matt Bailey, back into the top 10 now. Good fight back this. He's 53 seconds off the leaders, who are continuing on to lap 13. Brendan Grosh has just come in. He's stationary at the moment. Should do enough to see off the threat of Bailey. Booth and Lawrence arguing over the same piece of real estate. Sorry, Lawrence and Cleland, I should say. Booth has just gone into the lane. And Grosh is on his way back out again.
They've overtaken it. They've gone back and forth at least 3 times that last lap.
Excellent. That's what we like to see. Good squabbling. Good, clean squabbling. If you were tuning in on Monday night, you'll know that I was having a small little issue with my Logitech headset. Worked out what it was. It just needed a full factory reset. That's all it was. Once I did that, Bob's your uncle. So we're back on the normal working equipment today, which is good news for all and sundry. Lap 14 of 19, Paul Wood to pit lane, under the top 4, and Dave Oliver yet to stop. Everybody else stationary on pit road. Oh no, Jackson Fischler and Broden Friend have been there now for the better part of half a minute, so their race is just about run. Out comes Paul Wood, having a good run here, Woodsy. Sitting 5th at the moment. Can he stay there? Can he convert that? Looks like he will be able to. The only threat to him is going to be Brendan Grosh. But Woodsy's come out, maybe 5 car lengths clear. But that will disintegrate. That'll disappear with Grosh carrying a lot more speed into the corner. So now Woodsy does definitely need to keep his foot to the floor and avoid mistakes. So otherwise, that'll be Brendan Grosh's invitation into the top 5. Malcolm past Lavis. Whilst we're looking at that for 3rd. Pryke's giving Hasler the hurry up. Malcolm and Lavis are there in 3rd. Marcus Watson, yes it is, mate. It'll be last, appropriately, it'll be last cab off the rank. It'll be last one on the bill. We will show everybody at home as Lachlan Pryke and Adam Lavis go to pit lane. Hasler and Malcolm play on for another lap. We will show everybody at home the 2 sprint races from the open split from last week, plus the feature of the Elite. Then we'll do 2 more GT4 races, their round from last night at the Miami International Autodromo. And then, at about what we listed as about 6 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, it'll be our coverage, and we're looking forward to it immensely, of the I'm just trying to. I'm just wondering if I've actually labelled it all correctly on our social banner that went out earlier. To be honest with you, I'm hoping that I did. About 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time is when we'll start our coverage of GT4 Take 2, and then that should leave us at about 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock, somewhere in there, Eastern Daylight Time, for the Porsche Cup from the Imola circuit. So 40 minutes there, then we'll wrap everything up. We'll run through championship points. We'll give you the look ahead as far as the schedule's concerned. We'll do the usual housekeeping, but we're only going to do it once. We'll do it right at the end of the broadcast. So, yeah, 2 weeks worth of entertainment to get you through. But as Adam has already... hello, Smurf Larry. Good to have you on board. Just throwing water under the bus. Here's Adam Laverson's 6th spot now. Leaders are on pit road. Hasler and Malcolm, out they go. That's tight. That's close between those two. Malcolm beats Hasler off the jacks, but not off the lane. The race is going to be on in the fight for victory here in the final 4 laps. Through comes Lachlan Pryke, past all of them if you don't mind. Lachlan Pryke with the undercut. Trumps the lot of them. And Malcolm ended up swamped by 3 of them. Hasler, Wood and Malcolm. Grosh couldn't quite capitalise, so Grosh loses out. Malcolm gets back into 4th. Wowee. Pryke, Hasler, Wood, Malcolm, Grosh, then Lavis, Lawrence and Crow in the 3-way battle for 6th. That's the way the cookie crumbles at the moment. So yeah, we're zeroing in on 2 o'clock Eastern at the moment. This race will take us just slightly beyond that. Then we'll go Porsche racing for a little while, and remember there's 2 27-minute races in that marathon. So yeah, 4 o'clock's probably good fishing because we're going to put tools down after the third of those Porsche races. Take a little breather. I'll grab a drink and a pit stop and a coffee. I'll put one on the desk ready for the second part of the marathon, and Adam Lavis will do a couple of bits of tinkering at his end, just the admin side of the director and producer role, and then we'll relaunch. So it's a marathon broadcast, but it will be split into 2. You'll be invited to switch over to the new YouTube feed. The link, I assume, is already established, so we can paste that here for you in the comments as to where the marathon of motorsport will continue. And it will be 2 races from GT4 and that 40-minute from the Porsches. We won't... I don't think there's enough time nor need, actually, quite frankly, to replay all the Porsche racing from Imola, but we've got at least the elite 40-minute feature coming your way from last night. So it's a massive day and one we're very much looking forward to. And then we're good for a couple of weeks. It's not until Australian Grand Prix weekend where I'm not available on a Friday again. I'll be driving down to the nation's capital. But hopefully by then we've got some sort of solidified plans in place for Thursday night motorsport. Although I'm kind of torn. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of torn. Because if we keep going like this, I get to watch home and away on a Thursday night, and then I get to watch the footy on a Thursday night. But at the same time, I do enjoy having the Friday afternoons off. So, fraught with danger, isn't it? It's 6 of one and half dozen of the other. Stephen Lawrence giving my good colleague and friend here a hurry up and trying to get the run down the main straight, but unable to do so. And really, you got your work cut out for you in terms of competing with that Mustang as far as straight line poker is concerned, Adam. It's a good little beast, isn't it?
Straight line's fine, but the Porsches are the best on the brakes, and the Mustangs are worse on the brakes, so it does make defending from a Porsche a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's fair. Happy days. Oh no, trouble. There it is, right there, on cue. Lawrence and Lavis have come together. It was all going so beautifully, and now the honeymoon is over. was looking at the timing screen trying to pick something apart on there, and I should have been looking at the main screen, folks, but thankfully the sound effects gave me some sort of a hint that something had gone awry there. Unlucky. Big doors for a reason. Exactly. Lachlan Pryke, what a drive this has been, eh? White flag in the air one more time around. He's got one to go. One to go. What a drive this has been for Rapid Theft Esports. He's seen off the thread of Scott Hasler. He's trumped everybody on strategy. Jackson Fischler in trouble on one of the escape roads, in all sorts actually, on the escape road there.
He's gone to the hospital car park.
He has. Into the medical centre and back out onto the racetrack again. That wasn't a planned detour, ladies and gentlemen. Now, can Pryke hold on here, or has Hasler got something left in the tank? Because right up until the pit stop sequence played out, Hasler was in control. Oh dear, the drive-bys. The carve-ups are better when it's a replay broadcast, because all these guys, instead of being in the rig focusing on the task at hand, they got their opportunity to sit back, put the feet up and chime in on the broadcast. Hello Stefan, good to have you on board, mate. Lachlan Pryke is going to home. So it was a Porsche sweep at the podium in race 1. German Engineering dominates again in race 2, but this time it's a Merc lock out of the top 4. Lachlan Pryke, Rapid Theft Esports to get the job done and join the winners list in Disruptive Labs GT4 on the streets of Long Beach. Hasler in for second. Woodsy gets on the podium, held off Brendan Grosh. Malcolm in for 5th and Hamish Cleland in for 6th. Matt Bailey, Craig Bond, Shane Beaumont, and now Stephen Lawrence and Adam Lavis avoid contact on the final corner. Lavis will hopefully therefore hold on to a top 10 finish, what might have been for those two had it not been for the incident. Bond gets Beaumont for 8th. Lawrence in for 11th, Dale Sharp, Andrew Franklin, and then Justin Kahir made up the next few in the running order. This is where all the garbage started. Turn 1. Oh no. They saw the green flag, and that was, I think that was...
Dave Oliver.
It was. No, who got into him? I think it was Broken Friend that got into him. And then Matt Bailey did get help. He got help from Stephen Bull. So somewhat justice for Matt Bailey that Stephen would later end up in the wars himself. Bailey would fight back in the end, let's be honest, inside the top 10 and well and truly so. Let's have a look at this again.
That'd be Friend in the Mustang.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Picked it up beautifully. Friend in the Merc, actually.
Oh, sorry, Merc, yeah, Merc.
Yeah. Oh dear. This was what happened to Stephen Ball, all on his own. As he quite rightly pointed out, was already carrying damage. So that was unfortunate. Then Friend got a helping hand at the final corner. How many times have we seen that tonight? John Simpson in there as well. Into pit lane. Saw his opportunity to get out of the carnage, get out of the way. Hasler, Pryke, Wood, Grosh and Lavis was the running order at this time. As we have a look at the replay, Jackson Fischler getting served up by his own teammate. Oh, what are we doing, boys? Road and Friend. Not making any friends here at the moment, it would seem. Zamora into Simpson. That was unfortunate. Scraping at the front end. Ash Stacey arriving on scene and having nowhere to go. John Simpson backs himself out of there and completes one of those 9-point turns that Ryan Jones was mentioning earlier. Oh, Eduardo Zamora, that's how he broke the front end, left-hand side of his machine. BMW.
Okay, I was
One
actually,
of, handful.
it was Jordan Malcolm, not Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones must come on the scene here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jones.
Jones is going to arrive on scene and have nowhere to go. Straight into the side of Bondi. So Jordan Malcolm's the one that's carved up Bondi there. Let's have a look at this. Riding with Jonesy, 3-2. Uh-oh, bang. Bond Motors gun to guy. Get out and support the people that support the club, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Hasler, this was the final corner.
Oh, it's too deep.
Too deep. That was what opened the door for Lachlan Pryke, wasn't it, really? A little bit of a mistake. Pryke seemed content to tuck in and follow at that point. That was Dale Sharp getting into the side of Ryan Jones. That was when Jonesy realised the car was broken and it wasn't really worth continuing on with or worrying about. Jackson Fischler there in 20th. Hasler, Pryke, Renwood, Grosh, Lavis and Malcolm, the running order as this happened to Jackson Fischler. This was on lap 12. And then Broden Friend on lap 13. Well, he was still on lap 12 at the time. That was when he pulled up and decided to exit stage left and park it. Have an early shower. Ash Stacey also opting out.
Most of the team letting us pass on that.
And this was Jackson Fischler letting lap traffic through. The one with Bondi was no contact. Oh, okay, copy that. Thank you, Steph. Oh, jeez. That was definite contact though, Stefan. Probably poor timing, me reading that comment out. These two are taking over the highlights. Yep, correct, absolutely. Hello, Watto. Again, Jackson Fischler. Bowled it down to the end of the road, at the end of the back straight. That was when he decided that, oh no, I can't actually get in and park in the hospital parking lot. John Simpson. Just ceding caution upon returning to the racetrack, just letting all the faster cars through. Happy to adhere to gentlemanly etiquette and sit there a lap down and bring it home that way. And so Dave Oliver a minute 13 off the pace in the end. John Simpson a lap down. Jackson Fischler 2 laps down. Everybody else not classified based on 75%. And we get to tell you that 18 finishes in the end in a 23 car field. So Ryan Jones, Eduardo Zamora, Stephen Bull all out of business. Broden Friend, Ash Stacey as well. Pryke, Hasler, Wood, Grosh, Malcolm, Cleland, Bailey, Bond, Beaumont and Lavis for top 10. 30 points for Lachlan Pryke there, the leader of the bunch. And another new race winner in Disruptive Labs GT4 for this season. Hasler, Wood, Grosh, Malcolm and Cleland. Good fight back from Matt Bailey, I thought. I was impressed by that. Adam Lavis parked up early on, but chased his tail and got back to 7th, so salvaged a good points haul on a night in which he won the first race.
Yeah, 7th place after being in the fence on lap 1. That's still good points. So obviously, yeah, 11 points less than what he would like, but still a good haul of points in the end of the day. So possibly even. Hang on, let me just double check for a little bit of a.
So for everybody else, make sure you come back and join us after about 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time for the third round of the GT4 series from the Autodromo of Miami. The Miami International Autodromo, of course, home to Formula One. That's the picture as far as GT4 is concerned after 2 rounds. And we had a tie on points for the win there. A second and a fifth, good enough for Jordan Malcolm. The tie on points with Matt Bailey. Leaked the championship by 12. The margin, of course, he carried over from week 1. The advantage that he, of course, had, I should say, on the end of week 1. Paul Wood, 87, Stephen Bull, 82, and Craig Bond, 81 points, makes up the top 5. And you're not too far away, Adam, on 79, Ryan Jones, Shane Beaumont, Dale Sharp, and Brendan Grosh making up the top 10.
Yeah, not today. A couple of good results. So, but Woodsy's obviously having a killer season so far in GT4, so good on him. But yeah, just trying to find that sweet spot with the Mustang and get myself back towards that more consistent podium spots.
2 races down. What have we got? 6 still to come, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're enjoying the ride with us. We're an hour into a 5, maybe 6 hour marathon here. We'll just keep going until we're out of content to entertain you with this Friday afternoon. That was a lucky escape, really, for Matt Bailey. The fact that he was able to keep that pretty much off the wall, that was one of the reasons why he was able to fight his way back through the field so beautifully and salvage 7th position, which equalled him on points with Jordan Malcolm for round honours. So it's a tie between those two, and Bailey, of course, looking good as far as the championship's concerned, going into the 3rd round, which we'll bring you a little bit later on. But it's going to be a tough task to knock Jordan Malcolm off the top step of the summit. We're here with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com and Flash Graphics. 2 races down, 6 to come. We're off to the Temple of Speed in just a few moments' time to the Monza circuit in Italy. And our coverage of round 2 of the GSRC Porsche Cup. We'll bring you both races from the Open Split this week. Last week, of course, we brought you both races from the Elite Split. Open Split this week, then into, of course, the feature from the Elite Split. Then some news to break with regards to all of that and how that's going to look going forward this campaign. Then we'll come back to GT4 from Miami about 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time for that. Then off to Imola for the Porsches, but again, there will be a little interlude between 1 and 2 because we need to start a new stream so that week 2 and 3 are separate files when you go and look for them in our YouTube section. Make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Get around that. These are the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It's Friday afternoon motorsport. This is becoming a new regular in 2026, and we've got more for you in just a few moments' time. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on a Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. No better way to start the weekend as far as we are concerned, and we hope you feel exactly the same way. Although next week I'm a little bit worried that we might be competing with Live Golf on in this time slot. So that'll be fun because I don't think we've done around the grounds golf updates before on the platforms of the GSRC, so there'll be a first for everything. Good to have your company wherever you're tuning in. This is the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, the Temple of Speed in Italy, the scene and setting for the Porsche Cup. The Open Split is our focus today. 2 races from that. The Elite feature will also be included in this broadcast. So you're getting 3 races instead of 2. So even though it's a delayed offering, we're trying to compensate that by giving you more than what you pay for. And the other point here as well, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is the first of a 2-week stay, a 2-week swing through Italy. It's quite prominent that we're in this part of the world with the Winter Olympics just on the horizon, of course, and already underway as far as the ice hockey and the curling is concerned. But it's rather appropriate that we're in this part of the world. It's a 2-week swing, and you'll see both in this broadcast because later this afternoon we'll go to Imola for a 40-minute affair as well. Last time out, it was sprint racing in this series. There's the circuit, 5 3/4 kilometres. The length around 19 degrees, the ambient temperature at the moment, and the on-track temperature as well. It's the full configuration, the only configuration that we are familiar with. Next week, we're getting a little bit of an initiation with the combined strip, combining the road course and the oval for GT3, and we're excited about that. But right now, it's the Grand Prix layout, which has been in use this way, in this configuration, since the year 2000. Hello, Greg Heaney. 1 o'clock in the afternoon local server time, which is quite appropriate because it was 1 o'clock when we started this broadcast. Jeff Adams, Mark Heppel, the front row, Jason Wilkinson, Paul Rogers, second row, Todd Suter, Jack Humphreys, third row, Luke Page, Richard King, fourth row, John Akers and Daniel Piper from 5. From 6, it's Jamie Fleming and Matt Schmidtke. From 7, Stephen Gallacher, Travis Azzopardi. From 8, Colby Ashmore and also Jack Allisey. From 9, Adam Lavis, Bobby Camo. From 10, David Baz and Eduardo Zamora. And have a look at how far that grid is backed up, ladies and gentlemen. It's a full house. Michael Adams and Brad Coates from 11. Tom Williams, Paul Wilson from 12. Greg Heaney, Keel Cunningham from 13. Tim Ward, Tim Nicol from 14. Joel Hansen and Dale Atkins from 15. From 16, it's James Hardy and Trent Naylor. 17, Adam Gray, Cooper Friend. And then Rick Calling Fitzgerald's alongside Kelly McLaren on the 18th row. Barry Punter, Ben Goring from 19. Joel Jansons and Cameron Dacken from 20. Partly cloudy conditions here, and I think I've got maybe a minute to run through the rest of the grid. Colin Bennett, Alan McDonald from 21. From 22, it's David Christensen and Nathan Harvey. Jesse McMenamin and Tristan Koch from 23. From 24, it's Edward Rollo and Shabal McKernan. From 25, it's Lee Packham and Luke Wegener. From 26, it's David Uni and Paul Wood. From 27, Jordan Dakin and Steve Harvey. From 28, Pete Matson and Jackson Fischler. From 29, Will Ramsden and Lachlan Pryke. Jesus Christ, that's a lot. 58 cars on this grid, ladies and gentlemen. Cue madness. Cue absolute bedlam, carnage and chaos. Cue round 2, races 3 and 4. Last week it was Road Atlanta. This week it is the Monza circuit, the Temple of Speed, the home of horsepower, the Ferrari Tifosi. We're ready to rock and roll. Let's go to work and watch them fan out down the main straight. Hold your breath when they hit the first of the big braking zones at the end of this main straight. 4 wide already, no need to sort that out. 3 wide even a little bit difficult to achieve. Oh, trouble, there you go. Wipeout number 1. I was going to say 3 wide was going to be always hard to achieve on the run down towards the first corner by the time you got to the chicane. But some of them haven't even made that. Martin Lipsky non-starter. Travis Azzopardi also not going any further than the opening lap. Paul Wood on the tow road. The rest of the field sorting himself out. Oh no! Oh no! What's going on here? That's not like you to get involved in incidents, Adam Lavis. David Buzz pointing the wrong way. He too likely to end up on the tow rope. Paul Rogers up in a 5th spot. That's a blinder of a start. Jeff Adams leads from Mark Heppel and Jason Wilkinson, Todd Suter and Paul Rogers, the top 5. Jack Humphries is in the 6th spot. Daniel Piper, John Akers and Matt Schmidtke with Jamie Fleming making up the top 10. A lot of chopping and changing on that leaderboard on the opening lap. Up 6 spots already is Paul Wilson, up 7 Tim Nickel, up 10 Cooper Friend. Wowee. Up 11 for Will Ramsden, up 17 for Lachlan Pryke and Jackson Fischler now up 18 as well. Have a look at that sea of German engineering and manufacturing, ladies and gentlemen. The run down to the Parabolica. Paul Rogers to the inside of Jason Wilkinson. And Todd Suter keeping him company. Down the main straight we go. Richard King. Yes. Trouble down the main straight. Trouble down the main straight. It's NASCAR. Matt Schmidtke's upside down. Oh, no. Massive shunt on the main straight. There's carnage. There's people going left and right, taking evasive action, going to the grass, going to the gravel trap, going to the AstroTurf, to the runoff area. Absolute shambles. And that all started on the main straight. What the hell? And yet somehow we haven't seen a safety car deployed yet either. Jeff Adams and Mark Heppel are taken off. Jason Wilkinson is 3rd. Todd Suter, Jack Humphries, Daniel Piper, John Akers, Colby Ashmore, Stephen Gallacher and Adam Lavis now up in a 10th spot. Bobby Camo, Brad Coates, Eduardo Zamora, Michael Adams, Tom Williams make up the top 15. The top half of the leaderboard is a sea of green positions gained. And have a look at the attrition rate. Have a look at the casualty ward already. Colin Bennett's on the tow rope. So too Paul Rogers and Richard King, Jamie Fleming, Matt Schmidtke, Jack Allison, Tristan Koch and Paul Wood.
How is Coates even driving this thing?
I don't know. I've got no idea. Coates, he's sitting 14th. It's about to be 15th. Oh, no. Trouble. It's 13th. But it won't be for long because he'll get an invoice for that. Michael Adams now pointed the wrong way. Down to the end of the back straight. Jack Humphries around the outside. Todd Suter on his inside. Drag race down the main straight. I never got a chance to come back and answer that question. Thank you to Jeff for doing that for us. And spoiler alert too, because I was going to get Adam Lavis to let us into that. But yes, we started this season with 2 splits of Porsche. We started with Elite and Open. I mean, they'd always been 2 splits, but they'd been a combined server for a good couple of years. The numbers just weren't there. Now we're just enjoying a resurgence of interest in Porsche racing. In fact, the new car has brought a lot of people back to the fold, I think, with the ABS and the traction control and all the other creature comforts that these guys love. And there's obviously still that band of athletes that don't enjoy having that inclusion in these cars. There was a lot of stink kicked up at the back of it end of last year in our post-race shows regarding the introduction of the new machinery. But, I mean, the club members speak in droves here. They speak with their participation and their involvement, and it's all hands on deck here this term. So to combat that, yes, we're going to have, as of week 3, you will see from when we go to the Miami International Autodromo, to the Imola circuit for these guys. It's Miami for GT4. When we go there, yes, there will be three splits, and I'll get Adam Lavis to give you a bit more intel with regards to that very shortly. Trouble. Daniel Piper was the one that was stranded middle of the racetrack. Stephen Gallacher the one to take evasive action. He can't take a trick in round 2, can he? He's been caught up in incidents at Long Beach and now Monza as well.
So a teammate on teammate incident there, sort of semi-incident, just unfortunately for Gallacher, wrong place, wrong time. But yeah, so basically, this round 2 was still in the 2-split system. So hence the colours on the screen. This is the open split, so we've got the gold numbers representing the people who are already on open and the red with the people who are new to the server. In this race, we had 16 new drivers, and then the week round one, we had 24 new drivers. So with a full grid in this race, and as we'll see later on, we had a grid of 30 plus in the pro split. It forced the end to go for a 3-split system as of round 3. So we'll see, as you can see, the top of the tail and power, the new silver and red representation for the Porsche amateur cup.
That's it. Just under 60 in the open split is just insane. But obviously trouble at the back. Off the road. That was Kelly McLaren. Yes, it is a replay. We're doing the commentary to it as live, but the file is replay last week. Sorry?
Spicky was back there as well, so his comeback's already in trouble.
Yep.
He's got going again.
Oh, geez. Have a look at this. So, Adam Gray's already parked up exit stage right and gone.
I see
and off there in the grass there, David Uni and Dale Atkins.
See, mate, I saw his negation. I see a message. He's put the 992.1 livery on the 992.2.
Slade Evans tuning in as well. Now on the way down the main straight. Just Quantum have picked up where Whiskey Business left off with that blue and yellow paint scheme. I like that. I don't mind that, Tim Nicol, actually.
Yeah, they're going from
nice.
Yeah, they used to be like a darker blue and gold, and they're going to a bit more brighter blue and yellow now. So.
Good. Trouble.
Well, Heaney didn't like it.
Big turn around at turn 1.
Heaney was the one that was there, so he's heard you say that, and he's like, stuff that.
Just not liking it. No. Not appreciating the imitation is a form of flattery, Greg, but obviously you're not a fan of that. Oh, jeez. Jeff Adams the leader, Mark Heppel there in second. They've broken clear of all the garbage happening behind them. That's just sheer madness. Oh, Lavis bowls it wide, but keeps it straight. Keeps the boot into it. Stays position number 6 for now, up 11 spots. Remember, invert top 10 for this second race. So if it wasn't already chaotic enough in the first, wait for the second, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be well worth the price of admission. We're on lap 5 of 9. It's a 16-minute affair here. Then 27 minutes for the feature. We'll bring you the elite feature as well from the same venue. They ride the curb. Now we head down the back straight. Just have a look here. Oh no, Tim Ward and Brad Coates off the road. David Christensen, Paul Rogers, Colin Bennett still sitting on pit road. I think Christensen's just decided, you know what, I've had enough. No, that was a tech glitch. He's still showing on pit lane. It looked as though he was exiting the server. Luke Page is out there a lap down. Daniel Piper, Travis Azzopardi, Matt Schmidtke, Tristan Koch and Jamie Fleming all a lap down. It doesn't bode well for any of them because we only pay points to 25th, but I guess if there are any drivers in red at the moment that don't stay in this split beyond this week, then the chance of scoring points might increase ever so gradually. Cooper Friend up in the 12th spot. What a charge from Friend, up 22 spots. That's insane. That's insane. He's been able to avoid all the incidents.
Check out Jordan Dakin.
Yeah, good point. Hang on. I need to go a little bit further down, don't I? I was crying a little bit more pace at the apex. Carrying a little bit more pace at the apex. Sorry, I read that wrong. Gap disappeared. Maybe next time I'll use your description as my excuse. That's it, Greg. That's it. I like it. I've got to go down. Will Ramsden up 32 spots. 33 spots. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Massive amount of positional gains and losses out there. Jordan Dakin up 33 spots. Nathan Harvey up 23. And who did you say to keep an eye out on? Sorry, Adam?
Dakin, he's at 20th, up 33 spots.
Yeah. I thought it was, I just didn't hear it properly the first time through. Steve Harvey and Tim Ward both are lighting up off-track alerts. Brad Coates to pit lane. Geez, the rate of attrition here, high and not unsurprisingly so.
You want to know a secret?
Well, more to the point, do you want to spoil it for everybody at home?
I'm just saying, a good way to ruin a top 10 finish is not put the race fuel in your car.
Oh, no. There he goes. Off goes Adam Lavers. Now, hang on. You're well experienced enough on the mathematical sense and the race strategy sense of all of this, both inside the cockpit and outside. How does one still make a mistake like that, please?
Get distracted in the 2 or 3 minutes you got between sessions to forget about it.
That's it. Oh, dear. So it just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, he's one of our superhuman operators around the club, but he is still human. He is still human. Tom Williams there in 11th spot at the moment. Tom Williams. Not from the great outdoors by any chance.
I don't think so. I've got another like driver error situation for the next Porsche race too. So, but obviously we'll talk about that.
Excellent. Lovely. Oh, inside, outside, 3 wide. Williams has been swamped. He's going to lose out here. Manages to hold on to 12th. Nearly lost 13th. That's Trent Naylor in behind him. Oh, and Trent Naylor did nail him. Naylor nails Williams, and Williams is gone. Cameron Dakin also showing off the road and limping away from the scene of the crime. What the hell?
Lead change.
And now Heppel gets by Adams for the lead of this race with 2 laps to go. Poetically, that couldn't have worked any better for me. Will he nail it? Yes, he will. Across the start finish line we go. Jeff Adams in 2nd spot now, with an opportunity to go back to the lead, provided that Mark Heppel presents him a chance. That Heppel now looks to be content and setting his sights on consolidating the advantage and converting it into a race victory. What does Adams have to say about that? I'm sure race control will have their work cut out for them, having a look at all the post-race incidents here, because by gee, there's been some carnage. And the good news for us, ladies and gentlemen, there's still more of this to come.
You know,
what's the second race? 13 laps or 14? 14?
I'll check it a sec. I haven't looked at it. But yeah, I think after this, Trav went and helped Timmy Watson and hour up into the AM hours figuring out, and I think they had another look at it the next day or something.
Yep, I don't doubt that for a second. Paul Wilson, 11th at the moment. Here's Greg Heaney on the outside. Now these two exchange blows earlier. Tim Nicol to the inside. Looking to go back on Greg Heaney and back to 12. Down the back straight we go. Nicol all over Heaney like a cheap suit. Next week, of course, the Daytona Road Course, the venue for the Porsche Cup, and Monza, the venue for GT4. We're still got to get through week 3 yet, but there's a little teaser as to what's to come in week 4 of this series. I did open this for a reason. Yes, 14 laps is the scheduled distance for race 2, ladies and gentlemen. Our full season document is put together beautifully by Adam Lavis, of course. Final lap. Rita is on the last lap. The run home. Here we go. Heppel, Adams, then Wilkinson, Akers, Suter, Humphreys, then Bobby Camo. Eduardo Zamora there in 8th. Colby Ashmore is 9th. Cooper Friend, Paul Wilson, Greg Heaney, Tim Nicol, Kill Cunningham, and James Hardy, the top 15. Tom Williams is 16th at the moment. That's a good move. Cooper Friend on the inside. This is the invert pole. Paul Wilson gets him back. Friend will get the exit and the line. Friend goes to 10th and displaces Wilson. Cooper Friend from 34th up to 10th, and with a chance of snaring the invert pole position. Rick Callan Fitzgerald there in 19th at the moment. Under pressure from Kelly McLaren and Alan McDonald. Ben Goring is there in behind in 22nd. Jordan Dakin is 18th. And Nathan Harvey, 27th. Sorry, 17th, up 27 spots, I should say. Mark Heppel's going to win this thing, I think, ladies and gentlemen. One last gasp and chance here for Jeff Adams to have a crack. But Heppel's just got to get it through the parabolic unscathed and cleanly and rather promptly. He can't afford to take the foot off the accelerator because Jeff Adams is right there ready to pounce if he so much as coughs. But he doesn't cough, he doesn't splutter, he takes the win at Monza. Heppel from Adams, well played. 6 seconds clear of anybody. Wilkinson in for third, Akers, Suter, Humphries, Bobby Camo. Here's Paul Wilson with a late lunge. Around the outside of Cooper, Friend. Paul Wilson making the last-ditch effort to try and get the invert pole. Friend and Wilson to the line. Friend will get it by 0.02 of a second. Thank you very much. From 13th, 4th on the grid. The biggest Porsche Open Cup field we have ever seen. Delivering the goods at the Temple of Speed. Madness. Absolute madness. Heppel, Adams, Wilkinson, then Akers, Suter, Humphries, Camo, Zamora, Ashmore, Friend, the top 10. Wilson, Nickel, then Greg Heaney, Cunningham and Hardy. Took us back to 15th. Have a look at some of the garbage that played out. The highlights, 4 into 1 was never going to work, especially with a moving roadblock in the way. That was a fair old shunt too. That's the old bump and run you'd be proud of in the Daytona 500 next week. Excuse me, coming through, gone. And didn't they just fall like dominoes, left and right on the back of that, ladies and gentlemen. So that was the early incident. We'll have a look at the rest of the highlights for you here. We'll also, oh, that was David Baz. So what actually happened there, Adam? Because you were involved in that in some way, shape or form, were you not?
I was using a single screen, so David Baz was next to me. I knew he was there with my blind spot. So I was using the car ahead of us to try and judge and leave him a car width and a half to the edge of the track. And it looks like I've misjudged and left him like 1.4, and we've just rubbed and just sent him off. So unfortunately, I got a penalty for that because that was obviously my bad. But just got offside trying to judge the gap and didn't quite read it. And unfortunately, it went pretty bad for Baz. So apologies to him.
So the other point as well, the other point that we should make in all of that is single screen. There's a lot to be said about the differences between single screen, dual screen, triple screen, curved screen. Everyone's got different setups, but also double-edged sword for you, double blow, because you've penalised yourself by having to come into the pit lane as well. So that very much goes down as a race to forget.
Indeed it does.
Oh, Paul Rogers. Look at this. Bang. Poor old Matt Schmidtke had nowhere to go.
I think it's
Nor did... Who was that got Schmidtke? I didn't see.
See, I think it's a similar situation here on the front straight. They just didn't quite read. Yes, three wide, and they've all just touched.
But bang. Have a look at that. Savagely. Back across into the way of Matt Schmidtke, who collected the car on the outside. Bang. They go like pinballs again. To forget for Paul Rogers, Matt Schmidtke, that was a hell of a wild ride for him. And unfortunately was never going to be able to do anything other than tow that back to the lane. But at least he got back out there and finished a lap down. The viewpoint from Jamie, it was Jamie Fleming that got carved up. And then there was another one involved in that as well. We'll get the ident on that car in just a moment. Marcus Watson asking if it was a brake issue. That's fair. David Uni.
Oh, separate incident.
Separate incident, yeah. For the Southern Cross Racing Squad. What on earth is going on here? Still didn't get the ident on that other car that came through. That was Dale Atkins, unfortunately. Oh, watch them go left and right, trying to avoid him. They managed to do so for the most part. Brad Coates, Michael Adams. We saw this live, actually, this instant. And poor old Coatesy has just served up Michael Adams. And Daniel Piper. Now, this was carnage. Down the back straight. Oh, Stefan Lawrence working with probably 7/8 of a car with the gap and needed the full 8. Watch this. Stephen Gallatin, not Stefan Lawrence, my apologies. Watch this.
He's also blinded by the car ahead.
Bang. Scrape the arm coat. Yeah, that's fair. It was our tribute to the upcoming Olympic figure skating, I think, Marcus, quite frankly. Just sliding and gliding along the bitumen, not the ice, for a change. Hope you enjoy the Winter Olympics too, folks. Should be a magnificent couple of weeks. Kelly McLaren, and it was one of her teammates, or his teammates. I haven't got the idea on, because Kelly's a boy and a girl's name, so I need to find out, dig deeper for more information regarding Kelly. That it was one of the McLaren teammates, actually, that was involved in that other incident that carved up Matt Schmidtke. That was Tim Nicol and Greg Heaney coming together. Saw that live as well. And now Pete Matson. Oh, he got the line. He got the white line. Unlucky. Stephen Gallagher. See, this is where we chew up all the time, Adam. The replay, the highlights of the race, because we don't normally do this live.
Oh yeah, a little bit. We're just trying to skim through them so we can get the bits we missed.
Yeah. Steve Harvey, of course. That was an unfortunate incident at turn 1. Another off track for Adam Lavis at this point in time, as Will Ramsden goes a bit too deep. Oh. How has he missed everyone there? Just very, very lucky. Sacrifices himself, but thankfully doesn't trigger a bigger incident. That's madness. Wild ride for Will Ramsden. Watch this. To the left. Too deep. Way too deep under brakes. Cut the grass perfectly. Sliced through, precision-like.
And this is on the last lap, so something's happened here with these guys. What's the wrong grouping on?
This is Tim Nicol.
That's just a normal one. Hang on, let's see. Looks like that's it. I think we're at the end.
Yeah, we are. We're very much at the end. 100% we are. So, with that in mind, we can have a look at the results for you, folks. The Porsche Open Cup, Jeff Adams. Hang on. I've got you. Yep, because you've got the Open split up. So, you've just given us another spoiler alert, haven't you? In the sense that Mark Keppel's going to be elevated or demoted. What's going on there?
I've deliberately gone through. I've made the graphics currently as they were for this race.
Okay, lovely.
So this is as was for the start of the round. So everyone who's yellow was currently open for this race, and then everyone who's red was currently unassigned. And then after this race, there's been changes for next week's race.
Copy. So that's the meticulous work that goes on by Adam Lavis behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that we're staying up to date as best as possible. Relevant week on, week out.
I did a half-assed job with it in the first replay where I just did the people who moved up with red, but that was a bit of a giveaway. So this time I've just left it as it would be if we did a live.
Yep. Fair call. Well done. Hence the meticulous I dotting and T crossing we have to do between rounds 2 and 3. That's why there'll be a little bit of an intermission after this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen.
I've made it easy. All I can do is import a file and it does it.
Beautiful. Excellent. Heppel, Adams, Wilkinson, Akers, Suter, Humphreys, Camo, Zamora, Ashmore, Friend, the top 10. Wilkinson Paul Wilson, I should say, just outside. If we can bring that back. Thank you, sir. Tim Nicol, Greg Heaney, Kel Cunningham, James Hardy, Tom Williams, Nathan Harvey, Kelly McLaren, Jordan Dakin, and Rick Cowling Fitzgerald. We'll scroll over the page. There's 3 pages here, folks. McDonald, Goring, Wegener, Lavis back to 24th with that first invoice that he gave himself, let alone what came his way from race control for the incident with David Baz, Joel Hansen, then Lee Packham, Michael Adams, Cameron Dakin, Dale Atkins, Siobhan McKernan, David Uni, Then Jesse McMenamin, David Baz, Steve Harvey, Jared Williams, Edward Rollo, Lachlan Pryke, Pete Matson, Tim Ward and Jackson Fischler. Then we should be getting back to the territory of, yes, we are, Richard King, and then everybody else either a lap down or ran into problems and ended up much further down than that. But technically speaking, 53 different finishes eligible to be classified, 54 actually, 53 was right. 53 cars eligible to be classified at the finish line, and it'll be interesting to see how many of those take to the grid for Heat 2. Let's find out. The grid looks like this. Friend and Ashmore, the front row, Zamora Kamo, the second row, Humphrey, Suter, the third, Akers, Wilkinson, the fourth, Adams and Heppel, the fifth. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, local server time. It is winter over there. They're not obviously in daylight saving at the moment, but at least they bloody well observe it, unlike this joint that I live in. Wilson and Nickel, the sixth row, Heaney and Cunningham, the seventh, Hardy Williams, the eighth, Harvey McLaren, the ninth, Dakin and Cowling Fitzgerald from 10. Track temp 19, ambient 19, 1 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly east to northeasterly direction. McDonald, Goring, Wegener, Lavis, the next 4 through. Adam's going to keep scrolling through that for me. Hanson, Peckham, Adams, Dakin, Atkins and McKernan make up the top 30. Everyone beyond that, let's wait and see how they go, because we're not far off a start here. Cue carnage in the early stages. I'm happy to report that it looks like everyone except David Christensen in 47th has taken to the grid, so that will give us a field of 58. Greeting the starter, saluting the judges here as we get the second heat underway of round 2. Race 4 of the campaign. GSRC, Porsche over the car. And out down the main straight again, 4 wide. Let's wait and see. Brace yourselves, folks. Here we go. Turn 1. Trip up hazard number 1. Already a little bit of hip and shoulder. Nip and tuck. Yep. Uh-oh. Everybody's just been checked up. A little bit of bump and grind nose to tail work going on there. Jared Williams starting from pit lane. So we actually do have the full complement out there. Martin Lipsky and David Christensen started from pit lane as well, showing 57. Martin Lipsky down in 60th, the non-starter. But 60 in the server is astonishing stuff. Let's have a look at this. Trouble. Arriving on scene to find Steve Harvey on the outside curve. And Richard King as well. And Adam Gray. So 3 on the tow rope, 3 on pit road already on the opening lap. And I'm sure there'll be more where that came from. 14 laps the journey here. There'll be a compulsory pit stop included in this race as well. We pick up Colby Ashmore running third. Great start from Jack Humphreys, up 3 spots. But look at Cooper Friend. He's just taken off. Checked out. Thanks for having me. I'm gone. See you later. Catch me if you can. As Andrew Bredden joins the broadcast now. That was a no ABS whoopsie. Yep, okay, copy. Still getting used to that, aren't we? The new additions to the new car. 150.459, the standing lap time. Down the main straight. Much cleaner than race 1 so far, Adam. I don't want to speak too soon, though, of course.
Yeah, other than the traffic jam at turn 1 there, it was much better.
At least we haven't seen... Oh, no, there it is. I was going to say, at least we haven't seen cars in the Armco blocking the circuit, either the wrong way or on their lid just yet, but that all changes now. Have a look at the dust storm as they exit turn 2. Pistol's had enough. Sitting down in 54th spot at the moment. 55th actually. Oh, packet loss for Pete, I think. I think that's packet loss for Pete. He hasn't gone any further. Lost to the cause at turn 1. Whoa! Taken on the inside and forceful. No. Stand by. The elite feature is coming up. And you'll also get the elite race from Imola from last night as well, guys. That's all coming up this afternoon. Plus the 2 GT4 sprint races from Miami. That's coming up as soon as we're done with the Porsches. But the elite feature race from this round is coming up next. So more Porsche racing than you can poke a stick at this afternoon. Crike to 27. Edward Rollo for company there. He's trying to get by Cameron Dakin and does so. Heppel's gone. Mark Heppel's had a monster at the end of the back straight on the run towards the parabolic where he's off in a big way. Mark Heppel's race is run from hero to zero. We've said it earlier with Matt Bailey and GT4. And it's compounded further for Mark Heppel here. Wowee. 3 wide down the main straight. Adam Lavis in the thick of this. Loses out under brakes on the run to turn 1. And trouble at turn 1. Oh no! Now the carnage begins. Everybody's trying to scramble their way through. Cars taking to the dirt. That was Dale Atkins, and so too Joel Hansen. Brad Coates in 39th at the moment. To the inside. Uh-oh. James Hardy avoids incident there. That was Tim Nicol going... No, it wasn't Tim Nicol. It was Jordan Dakin going straight on. At the second of the chicanes. And then James Hardy running briefly wide on the exit of the Metzmo. Friend Humphries out for Suter, then Adams, then Zamora, then Camo, then Akers, Wilkinson, and Heaney the top 10. Good start, Greg Heaney. Geez, it's going to be bloody tough to earn your keep in this series this term, Adam Lavis. Especially now, I mean, compounded by the fact that we've now got 3 splits. But even then, the stakes are hot and high. So anyone that's in championship contention towards the back end of this campaign has done really well.
Oh, yeah, even with the 3 splits, it's still upwards of high 20s, low 30s in each server. So you've still got to keep yourself in check to make sure you maximise your positions and get those points towards that championship tally.
Harvey and Calvin Fitzgerald from the inside. In position number 20. Williams displacing him now to 21st. 3 wide down the main straight. Not for the first time tonight. Probably not the last either. They're still sorting themselves out. It's only lap 4. It is only lap 4. Oh, there's the hip and shoulder. Hold your breath, and there's more. Argy-bargy at 1. And the track is jammed. Oh, that's ugly. That is messy. If I'm needed, Joe, I can. If Banksy's available, though, he can well and truly have it, considering that I'll have been here for 6 hours by the time that we wrap up this broadcast. But good to have you tuning in, Trucker. I know you're there with Banksy tonight for Adelaide and GTE.
Looks like Pete did feed his squirrel, so he's still going. Hamster, sorry.
That's it. So that's good. Pete back out there. Travis has a party in behind him. But yes, keep you posted, Trucker, if I'm needed to jump in at the last minute. I mean, they're only showing the figure skating tonight at the Olympics, so I won't be missing much. But yes, good to see some good numbers on Friday night with GTE so far this term as well. There's Tim Ward. Wide. But lucky because he's taken evasive action on Edward Rollo, who's ended up crunched up in the wall. Down the back straight we go. Yeah. There he is. It's nice to actually have him back in the booth. Quite frankly, we missed him in term 4. And to be fair, Joe, it's a home round for him as well, so he'll be feeling very comfortable, I'm sure. Good move on the inside. Jack Allisey's been displaced. And that was Luke Wegener going through. Allisey's going to draw back on the outside now on the run around. And also going to take, I think, Nathan Harvey with him. Sorry, no, David Baz David Buzz goes through to 22nd. Off goes Greg Heaney momentarily, but he retains 10th. Uh-oh, there we go. Jack Allisey through. That will be a slowdown on the exit, and that will be a huge invoice that he has to pay, because that's going to make him vulnerable to that oncoming pack of 4 or 5 cars behind him. It's just a matter of where he's going to observe that slowdown, I dare say. Good observation from Jeff as well. Brad Coates up 26 spots already, sitting 29th. And doing a very nice job of it. Jack Humphries has just taken the lead away from Cooper Friend as well. So Humphries has gone through the charge from 5th to 1st. And Humphries is side by side with Friend. Down the main straight. Here we go, boys. Drag race. Last of the late breakers. Who's braver going into turn 1? Side by side, we go at the temple of speed. Humphries will back out of it. Friend to the inside, Friend back to the lead. Adams under pressure from Suter and Ashmore and Zamora and Akers as well. Camo and Wilkinson not too far away. Greg Heaney looking a little bit lonely in 10th at the moment. Then Tim Nichols got breathing space because he's back in 11th. About half a second to the good of Paul Wilson, James Hardy, Michael Adams and Adam Lavis. There they are. Into turn 1. Paul Wood in 24th at the moment. He's got Matt Schmidtke in behind him, the 2 teammates hovering at it. Trying to keep Travis as a party in the mix and trying to go and get a way around Lee Peckham and Luke Wegener. So 6 of 14 for you. Michael Adams and James Hardy kick up a little bit of dirt on the exit of the first Lesmo. Sweeper. Kelly McLaren up into 16th now. For Yokozuki Works Racing, one of the new teams in the mix here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in 2026. And we are inside, ladies and gentlemen, 2 months away from the start of the Porsche Pro Invitational Series, which is the newest offering from our friends over at the Australian Sim Racing Group. Brenton O'Brien, Brenton Hobson, Sean McNamara, and all that crew. We're very excited about that. And as was highlighted last year and even at the start of this year by some of our guys, the GT3 Series here become a bit of a training ground, a bit of a warm-up sort of ingredient in everybody's preparations for the ASRG 3-hour races. And then I feel as though we're going to get very similar for the Porsche. Everyone that's going to have a dabble in that will probably come here just to get some race time, and they'll find themselves racing up against some of the guys they're going to face on the circuit on Wednesday night starting in April, including Corey Ladford. Oh, trouble and gone! Jeff Adams is going to clean up the pieces here! Adams on the inside of Humphrey! Yes! Why not? It was Humphreys and Friend banging doors! Literally! Now Jeff Adams takes the lead in Italy. Todd Suter back to 4th and John Akers is 5th. What the hell? Wow. Heart-in-mouth moment for Friend and Humphreys, and also, I guess, to a lesser extent to Adams, because he was first on scene and could have so easily been cleaned up in all of that. Actually, that's a very good point, Jack O'Donnell. I do. And I'll find them. Jack Humphreys, done. That's the charge done. Finito for him. Todd Suter in 2nd spot now. Goes by Cooper Friend.
The plus side
is this the lap in which these guys come to pit lane to top up and get home and take that fast repair? Yes, it will be. Friend into pit lane.
I was going to say, it's plus side for Humphreys as well, is he can take his stop here, get his one fast repair. One luxury the Open and the amateur guys will have over the elite guys now with the splits in the sprint races. The elite guys no fast repairs in sprint races, so if they have a bingle, they're in trouble.
Winners and losers in that whole equation, isn't there, Adam? Because really, we're now following similar.
It's basically GT3's format
to what we have with GT3. Yeah, exactly. Which is appropriate because GT3 is essentially a bloody Porsche Cup at the moment in the Pro Split anyway.
Well,
they complement each other very nicely.
Well, that was part of the reason they made an easy decision to split it, is because at the end of this round, there was, like, after 2 rounds for both classes, so GT3s and Porsches, there was only 11 total more drivers in GT3 than there was in Porsche Cup. So
yeah, and obviously we have got our fingers crossed that everybody will keep showing up week in, week out for that.
Well, at least enough to keep a nice.
Justify the decision at least.
Yeah, so if we can keep strong high 20 to low 30 grids in at least 2 out of 3 if not all the splits, then that's the game. If you can keep a nice healthy field, so everyone has always got someone to race for, and there is still that jeopardy that if you have a bit of a Barney, you don't get any points, then that's the way to go.
Yep. Indeed. Lap 8 of 14. We're past half race distance, folks. Daniel Piper in 22nd at the moment. Just having a look, actually, pit lane traffic. We really haven't taken too much notice of what's been going on pit lane. Oh, no, Nathan Harvey cuts the corner. Kicks up the gravel. Loses 11th spot. Cameron Dakin, Jackson Fischler, Adam Gray, Steve Harvey, all out of business. Barry Punter, Matt Schmidt, you've been on pit road for a minute 43 now. They've essentially done. Keel Cunningham out of business, but a lap down and still out there circulating, but very much out of contention. Travis has a party now showing off the road. Into pit lane comes Tim Nicol, Greg Heaney, James Hardy, David Baz, Ben Goring, Luke Wegener. There was a car off road. That was Daniel Piper in 25th spot, and he's on the tow rope now as well. Pit lane traffic increasing and intensifying, ladies and gentlemen. Basically now, the top, Rick Calling Fitzgerald bowls it off the road on lap 9. There he is at turn 1. Top 10 down to Lee Peckham, plus Fleming, Cowling Fitzgerald, and Pete Matson. Now showing us yet to stop. Alan McDonald as well. Everybody else has transited the lane. That's what, about 3/4 of the field has transited the lane at this point. So still a lot to play out, you could say.
Yeah, Akers and Friend here, the 2 highest places of those who have pitted. So they're the ones to watch to whether they are effectively in the lead or just in the lead group. So it depends whether Jeff has managed to maintain his speed here and keep the gap, and we'll see where they come out in relation. And it's Jeff, Todd, and Ed White are coming to their stop.
Indeed. Jeff Adams, Todd Suter, Eduardo Zamora, Bobby Camo and Jason Wilkinson remain the top 5 here. Michael Adams is 6th. In comes Adams. In comes Suter. Lap 9. That threshold, that critical number for these guys. Bobby Camo continues on, as does Jason Wilkinson. But 9 seems to be that critical lap for the leading trio. Zamora is in. So you've got about half and half. Some guys saying the critical lap, the lap in which we're going to pull the trigger is lap 9. A few of them saying lap 10. So it's about 5 and 5. It's an even split between the top 10. Those that went on for an extra lap and those that came in. Very rare that you see that. Evenness. Harvey, Peckham, Fleming, Matson all in this time through.
So both Adams and Suter come out in front.
Zamora and Akers and Friend, yeah.
Yeah. So more. Eduardo was one who got split there.
Indeed, he was. So Adams, the effective race leader right now, you'd have to say. Paul Wood to the inside. No, that's not going to work. He wanted 2. He got 1. And then he's wide on the exit anyway. Ben Goring's right there ready to pounce. Just not able to do so just yet. So far, so good. This is awesome racing. Cleaner than the first outing. It's fair to say, although it's usually a role reversal. Usually it's the first race that's tame and the second race where all hell breaks loose. Not this week. Camo, Wilkinson, Adams. It felt the same way in GT4, quite frankly. Friday afternoon motorsport, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Past 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time for those of you in progressive civilised markets. 5 o'clock in New Zealand, and good afternoon to everybody in Western Australia who finally caught up and moved from the AM into the PM as well. I'm going to start actually putting a link in the comments section for our Queensland residents to get around, because there's a new petition that's been put forward, presented to the government to give them food for thought regarding the daylight saving debate up here. And if you're a Queensland resident and you don't want to be 112 years and 1 hour behind every summer, speak now or forever hold your peace, essentially. And as I gave somebody a clip about this the other night, because attack is the best form of defence. Oh, have a look at this. Jack Humphries on the comeback trail, trying to get by Greg Heaney. Heaney not making it easy for him either. Let me come back to that point. And Humphries not yet able to consolidate, so stays ninth for the moment. Heaney, his next target. Oh, that's a beautiful exit of the chicane from Humphries. Goes to 8th on the inside, and Heaney yields. Field now cleansed for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're on our way home at the Temple of Speed. But yeah, because I obviously shared the petition on social media the other day, and then somebody who's actually in favour of it and pointed out so in his comment, decided to take a swing at me in the process. So I quite enjoyed reminding that person, or informing that person, that in the time it took them to have a swing at me, they could have easily signed the petition. And if they are in favour of it and don't go out and do it, as we watch David Baz go around the outside of James Hardy for 13th, and there is John Akers in 4th place, giving Cooper Friend the hurry up. In fact, Friend's gone through, and Zamora wants to go with him as well. 3 wide down the main straight. Zamora wants 2 for the price of 1 and gets it. Eduardo is 3rd. Cooper's going to push him along. On the outside there, you got Akers in 3rd. Have a look at this. Last of the late breakers. Friend down the inside. Akers to go with him. No. And it's invited Bobby Camo into the mix as well. So Zamora, Camo, Akers and Friend all jostling for 3rd. Sooners 2.5 seconds up the road. Jeff Adams is comfortably clear. 2.3 seconds to the good in 1st. Leading this race, on track for a double podium and a round victory. Oh, what might have been for the main protagonist there, Mark Heppel, had he not had that off-track moment on the opening lap down at the Parabolica. We'll come back and cover off what happened there in more detail at the end of this race. Matt Schmidtke showing in 15th at the moment, 50th I should say at the moment. The last of the running cars. In comes Richard King from 45th. Alan McDonald off the road. Coming around the final corner. Now Paul Rogers in the wall last race, fighting back to 19th in this race, up 38 spots. Paul Wood up 29 as well. Rogers to the inside to 18th. Makes it 39 positions. Harvey gets him back on the exit. It wasn't a clean one for him. Down the back straight we go. Rogers is vulnerable here. Goring's up on the outside. Will get by. Rogers back to 21st at the expense of Goring and Harvey. Still plus 27, which is almightily impressive. Brad Coates plus 33. Sorry, plus 37, I should say. Plus 33 for Brad Coates, plus 23 for David Christensen. Plus 29 for Paul Wood. They're the big movers of this race so far. Friend and Zamora swap positions once more, arguing over the same piece of real estate. Zamora, Akers, Camo, Wilkinson. Then Humphries and Heaney are all in the mix here too. But the top 2 are gone. They've bolted. We've got 2 laps to go. Adam Sooner, Fratton, Zamora, then Akers, then Camo, then Wilkinson, then Humphries, then Heaney, then Michael Adams, Tim Nicol, then Adam Lavis. So Lavis back in 12th place. And really, Adam, compared to what's going on up here, a rather lonely and peaceful run for you. As Jason Morganson is displaced by Jack Humphries, he goes back through to 7th.
Yeah, I don't remember why it ended up being in a 4-second each way pit. So, but yeah, so round about the link, Dave Baz. Thanks, Chris. So, but yeah, it was just a bit of a cruisy way home for me.
James Hardy was trying to get through on the inside of David Baz, not able to do so. So Hardy now having a second look. Oh no, John Akers. John Akers to pit lane with 1 to go. Is that incident points? Or is it something else?
Underfield.
Wow. Really unlucky. Really unlucky. Those little 1%ers can make all the difference with regards to the push for championships on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. My goodness. My goodness. Paul Wood to the inside and goes through. That's nice. To 14th. Jeff Adams, Todd Sula, Cooper Friend, Eduardo Zamora, Ben Bobby Camo, Jack Humphries, Jason Wilkinson, Greg Heaney and Michael Adams. The top 9. You've got your eyes on John Akers now in 16th, so he's come out into a bottleneck, really. That's cost him a swag of positions. But in the meantime, look at the bottom of the screen. That's the last of the cars going through on the lead lap. At the top of the screen now, the bottom of the screen, that is Jeff Adams, ladies and gentlemen. Second to Mark Heppel earlier on. No such mistake this time round. Job done, box ticked, mission complete and accomplished. Jeff Adams to victory lane and gets the job done in race 2 of the Porsche Open Cup at Monza. Suter in for second, then friend Zamora Camo. Jack Humphries comes home with the fastest lap of the race, 146.671. Wilkinson, Adams, Heaney and Nickel the top 10. Have a look at this. The squabbling for positions. John Akers back to 15th on the final turn. 11th to Lavis, then Baz, then Hardy, then Paul Wood. John Akers is just going to hold off Paul Wilson. 0.03 of a second, the battle for 15th. So Wilson dropped 5 spots in that race. John Akers dropped 8. 31 positions gained for Paul Wood, 21 for David Baz, 19 for Michael Adams, 13 for Adam Lavis. Some good moves. Some good hustles in all of that. The biggest mover, Brad Coates, 34 spots. And Paul Rogers, 39. They take the cake there. Jamie Fleming and David Christensen up 24 positions apiece. They all come through and complete it, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Schmidtke, Mark Heppel, both the lap down. So that was Heppel going through bottom of shot to complete the race a lap down. The rest of the field came through. That was the bottleneck at turn 1 and how ugly that was and could have been, but really, that was clean compared to race 1 at the same point of the circuit. In the end, I think we got 50 home, which is not bad, all things considered. Let's have a look at turn 4. Oh, Richard King just got poleaxed. Smashed into. Have a look at the damage it did to the door and the frame. My God. Bang. Yeah, well overcooked. Well overcooked. Yeah. Don't get me started on the Queensland Highway situation, boys. We'll be here all afternoon. That's madness. Have a look at the lock-up from Steve Harvey. The drift work just overcooked and could not pull it up. And unfortunately, someone in all of that was bound to be collateral. We've got the Porsche Elite split coming up in a moment, but not before we run through the rest of these highlights. Kill Cunningham got turned around. That actually ended up being a lot better than it could have been, because if it had got stuck there in the middle of the racetrack, that would have just been a car park. Tim Nicol in 11th position at the end, but not before that run-in with one of the Riot Sim Racing entries. And then this was a wild ride for Jackson Fischler. Goodbye. But thankfully, the rebound wasn't strong enough to put him back into the oncoming traffic there. Cameron Dakin. Oh. The rejoin not his finest hour.
I think it's, yeah, you get hit by Baz. Yeah, so Baz into Capel, and it just dominoed.
Couldn't pull it up. He was
Yeah.
a passenger once he hit the grass, wasn't he?
Yeah, it all started with Baz running in the back of one car, sort of domino effect that.
Hero dear. So, Brand Humphreys, Ashmore, Adams, Suter, Zamora, then Akers, Camo, Wilkinson, then Heaney, Wilson, Mickle and Hardy were the running order when that incident played out. Not so much nailing going on from Trent Naylor that time through, more so just a bystander within that previous incident. That was Edward Rollo's exit stage left and a big cloud of the wall. This was Jesse McMenamin going a little bit of a sliding adventure through the final corner of the Parabolica. Don't forget, Monza combined for the GT3s coming up on Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited about that. Monza combined for GT3. So you're getting a fair taste of the Temple of Speed, the Italian circuit, tonight and throughout the course of this early part of Turn 1. Mark Heppel, so that was his exit at the start of race 2. That was lap 1, wasn't it? Contact there. I just didn't see who the contact was with. Was it 1 or 2?
I think it was Akers.
Akers, John Akers, yeah. So there you have it. That was unfortunate for Heppel. In 57 at the end of that. Lachlan Pryke. Such a good run in GT4, not to be repeated in Porsches, it would seem. And back to Barry Punter. Oh, Baz, nowhere to go. And poor old Matt Schmidt gets cleaned up for the second time tonight. I don't mind these highlight packages, Adam Lavis. I'm liking this. GSRC Disruptive Labs replay for you. This was Jared Williams. Just too deep at 1, and it goes through the escape route. The detour there. Oh, Trav. No. Park dead centre in the middle of the racetrack on the run down the back straight. Stephen Gallacher. Bang.
That was happening. Yeah, the grass entry then took too much curb, but then put up the fence. So that was all going wrong.
That was the other side of the Ascari last time in race 1 that claimed him as well. So that part of the racetrack, just not a happy hunting ground for Stephen tonight. Jeff Adams, Todd Suter, prominent at the front of this field. That was Jordan Dakin's demise. The replay file is fruitful, ladies and gentlemen. You've got plenty to look at here. Paul Wilson. Very rare that you see a mistake from Paul, but that would explain why he was -5 on the finishing order in that race, as opposed to what we normally see from him, which is a charge through the field. Luke Page, that was unlucky. But yes, far cleaner second race than what we saw in race number 1 for the Porsche Open Cup. That was not so much of a Kodak moment for Alan McDonald. I love it when the sponsors just lead me into a perfectly usable commentary line. Jeff Adams from Todd Suter Cooper, Friend, good hustle for third. Fourth place to Zamora, then Camo, Humphreys, Wilkinson, Adams, Heaney, Nickel, and Lavis, the top 11. Baz, Hardy, Wood, Akers, Wilson, McLaren, Rogers, Harvey, and Alessi, the top 20. Beyond that, let's have a look over the page. 3.5 the winning margin, comfortable for Jeff Adams in the end. Are we able to go over the page, Adam? No. We've lost the graphic.
I'll just fix the points.
Try and get that back. Copy.
The points are still in super sprint mode.
Oh, yes, yeah, copy, yeah. Brad Coates, Jamie Fleming, David Christensen, Lee Peckham, Luke Vegeta, Ben Goring, Tom Williams, Colby Ashmore, David Uni, and Tim Ward made up the top 30. Beyond that, Christian Koch, Colin Bennett. Then you go back there with Mollo, Rick Calling, Fitzgerald, Joel Jansen, Travis Hazaparty, Joel Hansen, then Trent Naylor, Jordan Dakin and Will Ramsden in the top 40. Beyond that, there it is, Jesse McManaman, Dale Atkins, Siobhan McKernan, Jared Williams, Rick Page, Alan McDonald, Pete Matson and Richard King. So 48 cars home on the lead lap that time through. That's a far better strike rate than what we saw in race 1. Mark Hebel, Matt Schmidtke, both a lap down. Everybody else put a line through them. They were not classified. So the attrition rate nowhere near as high as what it was earlier, but still it claimed 1/6 of the field. Very nicely done as far as the Porsche Cup's concerned. As far as the open split is concerned, do we want to have a look at open split points at this point, Adam, or do we want to just hold that off until after the elite?
I haven't got the open split points ready for this point. I've only got them ready for the end of round 3, but I've got the elite split. Well, at the end of the elite split race, we can do the elite split points.
All right, good. Let's do that then. At this point in time, folks, we're going to take a break. We're going to complete a pit stop. We will go through our usual intermission procedure here because even though part 1 of the broadcast is not yet done, we do need to switch servers. So stay with us because when we come back in a couple of moments' time, we're going back to the Temple of Speed, back to Monza, and this time it'll be the Porsche Elite Cup in action for you front and centre on broadcast. This is a special edition of Friday afternoon motorsport for you, exclusive and free to the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, our as live commentary of all the action from last week's second round. We've had Disruptive Labs GT4. Now we're 2/3 of the way through our Porsche offering. Then we go on to week 3 action in a separate broadcast feed, which will be coming up in about an hour's time. That will feature the Porsche Cup from Imola, the elite split there, but not before we go GT4 racing from the Miami International Autodrome, the newest circuit on the service. So a lot to look forward to this evening. Stay with us. The platform's the Gentleman Sim Racing Club as we get your weekend off and flying and underway on a rip-snorting note. Don't forget as well, part of the triple header tonight and live, the GTE action with Liam Banks and Joe Baldwin for you from the streets of Adelaide. A break and back with the Pro Split in just a moment. 4 races down and 4 to go. It's good to have your company this marathon Friday afternoon. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, as I said before the break, getting your weekend off to the best possible start. We return to the Temple of Speed. It's never a dull day out here when the Monza circuit in Italy is involved in any way, shape or form in our broadcast. Particularly interested to see how we handle the high banks of the combined circuit next Monday night in GT3. Fairly long lap too around that circuit, so it'll be one of those nights where we've got our work cut out for us, I'm sure. But in the meantime, our focus is the GSRC Porsche Cup. There's the combined circuit in the offing there for you as well, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the second race, the feature race of the Porsche Elite Split now for you. Reminding you that the circuit is 5 3/4 kilometres in length. Ambient temperature has improved up to 19 degrees, and the track temp 22. 9 km/h winds, but mostly clear and fine and sunny conditions, and that's what we like to see. The qualifying results here in the Elite Split for you, remembering that we're only bringing you the feature race, so we need to do a little bit of housekeeping off the top, and we can tell you that Andrew Dyson was fastest in qualifying, just ahead of the superstar. Good to see him back on grid as well. Corey Lazarus, Luke Page, Hayden Smith, Willie Blair, Josh Fitt, Marcus Watson, Aidan Luthwaite, another superstar in the house in Matty Dench, and also Alan Dawson, the top 10. 0.048 the pole margin. Very, very fine margins here. We expect no less. And as you can see there, top 16 covered by less than a second in qualifying. Race 1 results for you as we go over the page now and have a look at that. We can tell you that Corey Lazarus did get the better of Andrew Dyson. It was to the tune of 0.8 of a second. Luke Page well back in third, then Marcus Watson, Willie Blair, Matt Bailey in for 6th place after that showing in GT4, so he kept up that string of top 10 finishes for Summit Simsport. Matty Dench, Hayden Smith, Alan Dawson, Jordan Malcolm, the 3 ride entries making up the top 10. Malcolm with pole position for this feature race ahead of Dawson and Smith. Just how deep was the field, Adam Lavis? Can we go over the page? Just have a look here. Aidan Luthwaite down in 13th. Then all the way down, you've got, Aidan Schweikert in 24th. 32 starters on the grid, 2 of them not making it home. All right, let's launch it. Let's load into the server for race 2, ladies and gentlemen. Again, fine and sunny conditions here at the Monza circuit. That's the lay of the land. That's the equation at hand there for you. Rodney Gollan was 2 laps down at the finish there as well. So what that all means for the start and how many drivers take the start, we wait and see. But there are 32 cars entered in the server. Jordan Malcolm on pole position alongside Alan Dawson, 2nd row Hayden Smith and Matty Dench, 3rd row Matt Bailey, Willie Blair, 4th row Marcus Watson, Luke Page, 5th row Andrew Dyson and Corey Lazarus. Remembering 14 laps the journey, invert top 10 on the grid, results of race 1 determining that invert of the top 10 of this field. Alex Barrell on Ryan Jones, everybody else finishing or starting exactly where they finished race 1. Aidan Luthwaite, Matt Avenell, row 7, Reece Keane and Brooklyn Breton from 8, Derek Fitzgerald, Stephen Lawrence from 9, Dean Reddit and Luke King from 10. From 11, Andrew Neal and Nick Wood from 12, Josh Fitt, Aidan Schweikert from 13, Sam Cullen, Sean Medici from 14, Luke Brooker and Craig Bond. And from 15, it's Andrew Smith and Rodney Gollan. Thank you. 20 past 4, local server time there. Almost in sync with where we are in the real world. Off and racing the Monza. Look at those conditions for just a moment. Have a look at how quickly some of those drivers opted across to the inside of the circuit to try and give themselves the best possible chance of not being overtaken on the run to turn 1. Under brakes we go to the first corner. The leader is Jordan Malcolm. Top 7 remain unchanged as they break through cleanly the first 2 corners, which is very nicely done. Doesn't always happen that way, but it did today. Very nice. Bondi from the back of the field, 28th. Rodney Gollan, Oscar Haynes, Sam Cullen and James Glasspool, all non-starters here. But it's Malcolm leading Dawson at the moment. And cleanly so. Aidan Luthwaite's lost out to Ryan Jones. And Andrew Dyson losing out to Corey Lazarus. Whoa, Dawson off the road. They're all kicking up the dirt on the exit of the Lesmo. 14 laps the journey here Off-track alert's going to be interesting reading at the end of this one. A fair bit of red on the screen in the opening lap. 1 of 14 here for you. Remembering that we've still got week 3 action to come as soon as we're done. So I know we mentioned that we'd be trying for about a 4 o'clock start for that. Impossible to be doing that when, of course, we're still broadcasting this race at that time. So I would imagine it'll be about 4:20 ladies and gentlemen, before we kick in with any of the action from last night. But it is a shorter program, considering that we're only going to be bringing you 3 races there, not 5. Whoa! Dean read it around the outside under pressure from Andrew Neil on the inside. Side by side down the main straight. Denchi's being muscled out of it. Have a look at this. Oh, it's a slide out for Denchi. That's so costly here at Monza. Watson down the inside. Page as well. Smith there fending them all off and keeping them at bay. They're in the dirt. Smith and Page are in the dirt.
Page's got damage.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of damage, Stefan Lawrence. Oh boy, he can't take a trick. The right cannot take a trick. 2 of 14 for you. Dawson Watson, then Bailey, Lazarus Blair, then Dyson, then Dench. Jones, Barrelon and Page, the top 10.
What's that?
The squabbling continues. Smith down 23. It's the trio. It's the triple treat, unfortunately, for Riot. Stephen Lawrence, Hayden Smith, both on pit road. Dean Reddit for Riot, also in trouble there earlier. So too Rodney Golan. A race to forget for Riot so far. But Alan Dawson still flies the flag for them under pressure from Marcus Watson at the front of this field.
And I just realised I've got a bit of messaging to do over the course of the week, because as we can see here, we got the as far as the club's concerned, the original Luke Page here. The new Luke Page has also been promoted to Elite Split, so both Luke Pages will be here next week.
Great. Just what we like.
So I'm going to have to,
just going to confuse everyone.
Well, I'm going to have to message him and try and get a middle initial or something off one of them.
Right, that's it. Yeah, do that. We need that way of being able to decipher who's who in the Zoom.
Well, they are a different team, so at least they'll be different coloured cars.
Thank goodness for that.
So yeah, it's not a David Riddell and David Duddle situation.
Yeah, and there was a Riddell in there as well, wasn't there? So, Duddle, Ruddle, yeah, I know, yeah, unbelievable. Alan Dawson, Marcus Watson, and then you got Lazarus, Blair, Bailey, Dyson, Dench, Jones, Page and Barrel on the top 10. Lap 3 of 14, tame so far. I'm reliably advised that this livens up quite nicely for you, ladies and gentlemen, so do stay with us. No spoilers from me. I haven't seen the results sheet. I'm none the wiser. I want to be as surprised as you are as to how this all plays out. Brooklyn Bredon there in 11th and doing nicely so far. Staying out of trouble, but about to lose 11th at the expense of Reece Keane, who goes through on the inside. That was Aidan Luthwaite kicking up a bit of dirt for Whiskey Business there in 14th, having lost out to Brooklyn Bredon as well, and Derek Fitzgerald is keeping him company. Down the back straight. There we go. Matt Bailey in 5th. Marcus Watson chiming in. Enjoying his afternoon with us. He's been here pretty much since the start at 1 o'clock. We're now into our 3rd hour. This will be one of the longer GSRC broadcasts we've pulled off in a while, ladies and gentlemen, by the time it's done. Down the inside, that's Bailey being displaced. Mates Dench going through on the inside, so Denchy continuing his charge back through the field, despite that slowdown that he observed earlier. And this is the problem, isn't it, Adam? Like some circuits, the invoice is crueler than others. Monza being such a high-speed racetrack, right at the top of the list.
Yeah, I think because iRacing set up their slowdowns and penalties based on like officials where there's no live race control or anything like that. So for places where you can really just absolutely take the piss with the corner cuts and gain a lot of time, they put a massive slowdown. So the downside is when you're in a league race and you still do sort of a right thing or just make a slight mistake in that same area, then all of a sudden you get this 1 to 2 or 3 second slowdown, and they always seem to take much more than 1 to 2 or 3 seconds out of your gap to the guy ahead.
Been fun so far. Still a long way to go though. Have a look at the off-track alerts that being lit up there.
Yeah, they're using all the track in this race.
Absolutely they are. And so you have to. In a field this hotly contested. And evenly matched. Alan Dawson doing a beautiful job of controlling the race though from Marcus Watson.
Well, you can see that there's only 2 small gaps from 1st to 24th.
Yeah. Steve's already dreading Adelaide in turn 1. Yeah, that's tonight, of course, for GTE participants, of course. We do have some upcoming GT3 racing from the same venue. I'm looking forward to it as well. 4 of 14. Make it 5. 1:45, 8:36. Corey Lazarus fast club race. Rick Page under pressure here from, well, that's Ryan Jones just ahead of him. Jonesy in a not so noticeable livery this time through. The yellow stands out far more in his GT4.
Well, he's actually
Page is going to keep him at bay for the moment, taking the spot away from him. Sorry.
Yeah, well, the difference is he's actually running the DPR livery this time. He hasn't got a DPR livery set on the GT4.
No, and if Andrew Dyson's tuning in, he might want to attend to that over the course of the weekend if he's got time. Marcus Watson second, chasing now, having got by Corey Lazarus, chasing Alan Dawson. Dawson fending off Watson and Lazarus. This is a race that's on in earnest here, isn't it? I mean, you got a young star on the rise in sim racing circles universally versus the benchmark of the Porsche Cup in recent years on the platforms of the GSRC. And a little bit further back top, a shot in the yellow car there. Matt Dench, the 10-time champion in this series, in this league, in this club. I just saw a comment from Andrew Franklin in our... yeah, there is 13 GT Pro, 10 Porsches, 1 GT4, a GTE, etc., etc. But there's not enough room on the pole, on the totem pole there, to fit the CV in for Matty Dench. That's just as far as this club is concerned. He's under pressure now, however, from Matt Bailey in Summit Sim Sport. Bailey an improver on the rise as well. I just saw a comment there from Andrew Franklin in our Discord thread, one of the multi-channels that we've got here. And all it said was, I'll run out of excuses for my lack of talent at this race. So at least he's honest. At least everybody's happy to, you know, share the banter around. I like it. Marcus Watson, Alan Dawson. Watson to the outside, Dawson to the inside. Dawson, door! Oh, no wonder. No wonder Watto's been talking about the doors situation this afternoon. There's an example of it. Denchi has a shocker through the chicane at turn 1, misses it completely. That'll be another slowdown for the 10-time champ. Watson all over the back of Dawson here, trying to find a way through. Does so, goes to the inside. Dawson has to yield that time through. Now he's got to get on the defensive and worry about Corey Lazarus, but that won't work. The door already open. Lazarus already through. Lazarus follows Watson and goes to the outside. Are you kidding me? Lazarus around the outside. Now the door's around on the other side of the ledger. First it was the left-hand side door, now the right-hand side. Willie Blair's in this as well for Riot. Dawson's lost 3 spots in a sector. Down the hill we go. Lazarus to the outside. Corey Lazarus has been turned around. Through the gravel, skirts out the other side, drops a bunch of spots. Watson leads in Italy. What on earth is going on here? Lazarus will be in the slowdown territory with Matty Dench. He rejoins behind Ryan Jones. Willie Blair to the inside, gets by Watson. This is a magnificent circuit for dueling and positional battles and driving side by side and slipstreaming and overtaking. It's impossible to break the draft in a field this tightly stacked. Dench comes to pit lane. There's another door from Watson on Blair. Down to turn one. Blair's going to hold on. Goes deep on the inside. Bang, there he goes. So Watson gets the door again. But this time it was with the front end of the car, not the side. And Blair drops down to fifth. Bailey up to fourth. Andrew Dyson has come from nowhere to sit third for DPR. 4 different teams in the top 4 at the moment. Project 36 and Ride have 2 representatives in the top 6. Northwind Motorsports, Alex Barrelon's there in 7th. Corey Lazarus, then Ryan Jones, another DPR entry down the inside. That's Alan Dawson going back to the lead. He was 4th a lap ago. Watson back down, he's inside. Thanks very much. What are absolutely loving this from the comment section.
Hey, remember on lap 3 and 4 he said it was a bit tight?
Yeah, it was. And I stand by that. Now on lap 7, it's real lively. It's interesting enough to have me up out of my seat. Now Dawson under pressure from Blair. Blair's got back up to 3rd. Dyson, Bailey, Page, Barrelon. Watson has skirted clear. I think there might be an invoice coming his way, though. We'll wait and see. So what sort of an invoice has he got to try and overturn to work with to minimise the damage here, and how quickly can he scoot away from the chasing pack? Dyson down the inside of Dawson. Dyson to 2nd. Blair, Bailey, Page, Barrelon, Lazarus, Jones. A look at the bottleneck here all the way back to Derek Fitzgerald in 13th. Now pit stops come in part of the equation. Bailey and Lazarus to 12th and 13th as they hit pit road. Trying to get out of this. Look at these boys just getting all romantic on me in the comment section now. No one lost there. Watson, Dyson, Blair, Dawson and Page the top 5 at the Temple of Speed. And this again reiterates the point that I made last week, or earlier this week in fact, in GT3 when we were at the Bend. Not my favourite racetrack in terms of GT racing and that sort of stuff, but brilliant for Formula V and One Make Series, and particularly when you look at the West configuration, the West course, right? The one that they're going to use for the Supercar Enduro this year. But this is what happens. This is evidence of what can happen as far as a spectacle to the paying public is concerned when you have the right track and car combination. And I don't think there's a bad category that we bring to Monza. Down the inside, Dyson under pressure. Trying to find a way by Watson. Has fended off Willie Blair. Watson has been caught by Dyson. Here we go again. Project 36 versus GTR. No, there'll be no love lost here. Dyson with an enormous run down the inside. Watson on the defensive. Now Dyson would be aware that Watson has been in the thick of it. Therefore, he may not necessarily need to complete the overtake to get the job done. Down the main straight we go, or are we going to pit lane? No, Dyson, Dyson was on the anchors and then thought, no, bugger this, I'm going for another lap. Watson, Dawson, Barrelon and Brennan to pit lane. Top 7 remain out on the racetrack. 3.8 seconds covers them at the moment. This is scintillating Porsche racing. Down the inside, that is Aidan Loothwaite going to P4 on Ryan Jones. Next target for him is Luke Page. He's managed to get to 4th from 13th on the grid as Aidan Loothwaite. How good's that? Reece Keane, Derek Fitzgerald, Andrew Neal, Jordan Malcolm, Andrew Smith, Matt Avenel and Luke Rook are the top 12, all yet to stop. Everybody else has stopped so far, and the attrition rate is high. Josh Fitt, Craig Bond, Dean Reddit, Stephen Lawrence and Hayden Smith all out of business.
So
to this point.
It's the two Matts who haven't had a good run so far. They're trying to work together to get themselves back towards the front. So they'll bump drafting, and Corey Lazarus. So all 3 of these guys, we all know they're fast. They need to work together to get themselves back towards that front group.
Can they do that? We'll wait and see. Don't forget the other thing that starts up this weekend too, folks. I mentioned the Live Golf and the Winter Olympics and everything else. The ICC T20 World Cup gets underway this weekend as well. So if you've got an Amazon Prime subscription, thank you, my little sister, then you're well and truly set for the next month of live sport. There's no doubt about that. Plus the A-League, plus the NBL. There's plenty of great sport hitting your screens this weekend. Big one at the back, in the wall. Andrew Smith has had a monster... No. Was it Smith? No.
That's Jordan.
It's Jordan. Jordan Malcolm has had a monster shunt. I was watching the totem pole and trying to reference the name.
I was trying to figure out nothing was moving. I was trying to click on the right spot. Couldn't get it.
It was having a wobbly. But Jordan Malcolm has had a huge moment there coming out of the Ascari, and his race has been run. Lazarus to the inside. Bailey goes back to 13th on not corrected order just yet. We still have 8 drivers yet to complete their stop. Luthwaite, Fitzgerald and Smith are coming back out onto the racetrack now. Luthwaite and Fitzgerald will find their way back out into the mix immediately behind Watson, Lazarus and Bailey and Dench. Luthwaite's been gobbled up. He goes back to 13th. And the tide turns again. Into the setting sun we go in Italy. Got some breaking news to pass on actually regarding that T20 World Cup, because the Australian campaign really is in tatters before it even gets going here, unfortunately, because Josh Hazelwood has just been ruled out of the T20 World Cup. He was trying to get back, of course, missed the Ashes, was trying to get himself fit, trying to get back, but he's out. Pat Cummins is out, so it's a relatively inexperienced pace attack that'll be heading to the subcontinent for the T20 World Cup. Dyson, Blair, Page, Ben Jones, Keane, Neil, Avenel, Brooker, Watson and Lazarus top 10. Top 8 yet to stop. That will change now, you would expect. And if not this time by, certainly next time by. Dyson in, Blair in, Page in, Jones and Keane the same. That's 5 boxes ticked. Looks like 10's the critical lap. The latest you can possibly stretch it. Neil's in as well. Avenel's in. Brooker will be the next target to keep an eye on if he's heading down pit lane as well. Yes, he is. Everybody in the field will be cleansed. Out goes Andrew Dyson, the fuel-saving master. That was an enormously huge advantage that he managed to muster up on the chasing pack there. He's absolutely trumped everybody. 2.7 to the good on Willie Blair, and have a look at the log jam here. 3 wide on the run to 1. Watson in the thick of it again. Shortcuts the chicane. We'll have a slow down to serve, surely. Dench gets through. He's going to go 7th, maybe 6th here. Side by side with Aidan Luthwaite. Have a look at this. The youthful exuberance versus the old experienced hand. Corey Lazarus has got to 2nd, but now Marcus Watson's just displaced him. Watto's gone through.
So somehow...
Now moves across. Try to observe a slowdown here. And does it.
So somehow Dyson has done a second half to 2 seconds less fuel when he stopped, and managed to pull a 5-second gap over these guys, because it's now Dyson and then 2nd through to 12th.
Not the first time Andrew Dyson has announced himself as a fuel-safe strategist.
Look at it.
He's 5.5 seconds to the good. That is madness. Leapfrogs everyone on the lane. Pulls the trigger earlier than everybody. Sits on the jacks up to a second less than anybody else in that top 12. And more than for most of the top 12. Now look at this. The end result is a 5-way fight for 2nd and a 6-way fight for 7th. Ryan Jones at the head of that next pack. Watson, Bailey, Lazarus, Blair, Luthwaite with the run off the back corner there at the Parabolica. 3 to go. Hold your breath. 17 and a quarter kilometres to go here. It's Dyson's to lose. He's won this in a canter. He's played the trump card and upstaged everybody. A huge leapfrog on pit road, and it pays dividends on everybody that stopped before him, not just those that stopped on the same lap. He's 6.25 seconds to the good. Watson's got his work cut out for him with Lazarus and Bailey and Luthwaite and Blair and Dench. all hovering, looming large, lurking, applying the pressure, trying to force him into a mistake. But Watson has got 2 car leaks, 3 car leaks now on Lazarus, and it's good. Massive freight train in behind that. Look at the dust being kicked up as well. We haven't really spoken much about debris tonight. Alan Dawson was in the thick of this earlier in the piece. He's now going back into the top 10. This is madness. But this is how evenly matched we are in the Porsche Cup this term. More of this, please. If we could have every round at Monza, I'd be happy. Just mix up the weather conditions, time of day, etc. Put them out there in the dark, I don't care. If we could have this every week, people will continue to show up for the Porsche Cup on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We're off to Imola next. You'll see that after GT4 from Miami, where we're probably expecting a tamer affair, I think it's fair to say. That's not necessarily one of the best. It's a great looking track and it's no doubt good to drive, but it doesn't look like the best racing track we've ever been to. A bit like the Bend. Dyson, Lazarus, Watson down the inside. Displaces the multiple-time Porsche Cup champion on these platforms. And Lazarus sits third again. 2 to go. 4-time champ. Couldn't remember if it was 4 or 5. Thank you, Adam. Down the outside he goes now. Watson already in defence mode. But Lazarus will play this to the best of his ability, and it will be clean. He'll only take the risk if he knows he can pull it off cleanly. Trying to get by Watson. Bailey, Luthwaite. What a great charge from Matty Bailey. Luthwaite up 8 spots. Dench down 3. Jones up 3 spots as well into the top 10. Denchy, I'm not sure. I can't wait to have a chat to the 10-time champ, just to see how he's adapting to this new car, Adam, because it would seem as though either he's a little bit rusty with some time out of the seat, or he's just not handling the new car compared to the old.
Oh, he's still there. He's only got that little bit of extra advantage over the guys, so he's still there with them. So you can't put it past he's not going to sneak a possible victory somewhere. But yeah, he's just obviously whatever that little tiny last 1 or 2% he had in the 2.1. He's obviously still just trying to find that in the 2.2. Whereas Corey and Marcus, they clearly know where they've found their niche.
Indeed they have. White flag in the air one more time around at the Monza circuit in Italy. Wow! Aiden Luthwaite had 2 wheels in the dirt. That poleaxes Matt Bailey. Bailey's gone. Of contention. Watson and Luthwaite are going to go on through. Lazarus has been left behind in all that. He's dropped down to 7th. Wowee! What on earth has gone on here? Watson with the big send down the inside. Can't get through. Blair Page, Dench, Lazarus all in behind. No, there goes Luke Page. Another contender bites the dust, literally. Diamond leads.
Bailey
Luthwaite from the second.
Bailey's trying to get rid of his slowdown here, so he's fallen back.
Bailey goes back to 5th. Right out, he's inside. Judge goes with him. Watson's there chasing Luthwaite now. He still can sniff second. He wants second across the line. Does Marcus Watson. Lazarus to the inside, can't get by Dench. Watch the last corner. Watch a late one from Marcus Watson. Dyson the winner in a canter at the top of the speed. Big one in the back and gone. Watson out. Are you kidding me? Watson on the inside. Luthwaite defending beautifully. Willie Blair's there in 4th. Dyson smashes the competition by 8.5 seconds at Monza. Are you kidding me? Luthwaite, Luthwaite got it. Watson, Blair, Dench, Lazarus, Dawson, Bailey, Brennan and Jones, the top 10. What the hell? Hayden Schweikert comes home in all of that, down in 16th position. Reese Keane, Andrew Neil, Luke Page 13th, Barrel on 14th, unlucky. Smith, Schweikert, King, Avenel, Brooker, Wood, Benici, the top 21. Fitzgerald limps home, well down the order. Rodney Gollan, unlucky, half a lap down. Jordan Malcolm, Josh Fitt, Craig Bond, Dean Reddit, Stephen Lawrence and Hayden Smith make up a very big list of casualties in that one. And that's where it all started for Stephen Lawrence. You were right. It was good. It livened up beautifully.
Just trying to remember where Hayden got his demi.
That's a good question, actually. Hard to keep track on all of it, quite frankly. Have a look at this. This was him and Denchi. Side by side. It wouldn't be like Dench to fence anybody, so it'll be a little bit further on, I think. That was on lap 7, of course. Coming round onto the main straight.
I think it's...
Here it is,
yeah.
Bang. Had nowhere to go. A teammate. And the car was broken beyond that point. Rodney Gollan. This is what happened to him.
Yeah, so I guess called Woods, I think it's No, that's Jordan Malcolm. Yeah. Jordan Malcolm's one.
Jordan Malcolm, yeah. And of course we saw Malcolm with a similar incident a little bit later on in the piece as well. A horrific exit for him.
Yeah, they're basically down here. And we get down to the hairpin, to the chicane, and he turns right from him, and the car will not turn left for him. And unfortunately, Luke Page has got nowhere else to go.
That's right. And then that was it. In the gravel and passenger. And a really heavy gravel trap too, to try and work your way through and get out of. Oh, Bondi. Oh, no. Oh, no. Luke Brooker. This was what happened to him in 22nd. Yeah. Less said about that, the better. There was a lot of hip and shoulder at turn 1. Marcus Watson was in the thick of that. That was Matty Dench. Just missing the apex and opting for the shortcut. The appropriate invoice applied after the fact. If he had weaved his way through that barrier, they might not have been so heavy with the invoice, but it is what it is. Lazarus, that was him getting sent by Marcus Watson at very high speed. Massive send from Watto. And a massive moment for Corey, but he fought back well. He fought back extremely well, as a true champion does, and got himself firmly back in the mix towards the right end of proceedings. This was Jordan Malcolm, curb ×2, and then clattered the tyre wall, clattered the Armco, and ripped the right sim racing machine off entirely. Unlucky. Just past 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. If you're just waiting for round 3 coverage to kick in, there will be an intermission once we're done here, folks. There will be a break. We'll actually cease this broadcast. We'll start a new one up, and that will bring you all the action from week 3 of Thursday Night Motorsport, which was held less than 24 hours ago, of course. This was the start of the last lap and the argy-bargy that unfolded here. Luke Page. Oh, Denchi. Denchi got into the side of Page. Righto, I didn't see that. Further ahead, it was Reese Keane. We'll find out what happened at the back of shot coming out of the Ascari in just a moment. Reese Keane, that was okay. That was all good, but I've got a feeling that we might be having a chat about Reese in just a moment. Watch them down the back straight here. So Luke King in 18th. Matt Avenel was the one that took to the grass behind him. And then Derek Fitzgerald, watch this, holy cow, bang. Ryan Jones, Reece Keane, bang. Oh. Alex Barrowon had nowhere to go. And watch the onboard from Derek Fitzgerald. Come on. And it wrote the car off right with the finish line in view. Right with the finish line in view. He'll still be classified, but it will be a lot further down the order than he would have liked. Oh, catch your breath, Australia. How good was that? My goodness. But Porsche racing at Monza never disappoints. I think it has to become a compulsory fixture on the schedule each season going forward. Andrew Dyson, Aidan Luthwaite, then Marcus Watson, Willie Blair, Matty Dench, Corey Lazarus, Alan Dawson, Matt Bailey, Brooklyn Bredden and Ryan Jones got a top 10 in the end there. Held off Reece Keane, Andrew Neil, then Luke Page, Alex Barrowon. So Pagey, of course, that last lap incident cost him a bunch of spots. Barrowon limped at home. Smith, Schweikert, King, Avenel, Brooker and Wood. And I get the feeling that Race Control will be picking through the tape of that one for a little while. There was a lot to try and make sense of. Over the page, if we can please, Adam, 21st in all of that. Noting that the sprint feature has been won by Andrew Dyson, another win for him in the Porsche Cup. 21st went to Sean Bonici, and then Rodney Gollan, we got there. And then Derek Fitzgerald will up down everybody else in the casualty ward, including Hayden Smith on the opening lap, Stefan Lawrence, Dean Reddit, Craig Bond, Josh Fitt, and Jordan Malcolm. Wowee. Oh. Now, we do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, we do it with thanks to Waste Options, Trophy AI, Flash Graphics and merch.tgsrci.com. Big thanks to all of those people for their ongoing involvement and input of everything we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. There will be, at the end of the second leg of our doubleheader today, there will be a reminder of what's coming your way, where, when and why and how. But we won't bother with that right now because we're going to take a quick, well, what do you reckon, Adam, 10 to 15 minutes?
Probably something like that.
Won't even be that, right? Yeah, something like that. So come back and join us in about 15 minutes' time, folks, when we'll bring you all the action from night 4 of week 3 of term 1 of 2026. All the action from Thursday night motorsport from last night, and it will be the doubleheader. The sprint racing for the GT4s from the Miami International Autodrome, and then on to, of course, the Imola circuit in Italy for the Porsches. They stay in Italy, back-to-back rounds in Italy to get the early part of the season in the can. On the back of sprint racing last week, we get our first 40-minute enduro or mini enduro of the season tonight for the Porsches. So looking forward to that from Imola very shortly. Andrew Dyson, his second win of the season, matched only by Corey Lazarus with 2 wins as well. So they're dominating in the early part, this pair, aren't they? Lazarus from Dyson last week, in the sprint race earlier, and then of course Dyson getting the better of everybody in that second race by a country mile. Few exclamation marks lighting up there too, ladies and gentlemen. Marcus Watson with 3rd, but there's a bit of an invoice coming with that one, a safety licence point and a 5 championship point penalty coming his way. So no time penalties applied, but certainly he's got to keep an eye on himself there going forward. Also Matt Bailey copping a warning as well and a couple of safety licence penalty points. Dyson leads by 12 points, 112 from Corey Lazarus, Matty Dench, Marcus Watson, Aidan Luthwaite, Matt Bailey, then Willie Blair, Jeff Adams, Hayden Smith, Ryan Jones and Alan Dawson, the top 11. Top 10 covered by 43 points already. So already evident to suggest that the field is spreading itself thin in the early part. There's still a long way to go. The calendar of what's to come, once we get through Imola, we've got some great racing on our way. The Daytona Road course for 40 minutes, then Sebring for the same length. So we go a double in Italy, a double in the United States, then to Germany for sprint racing on the 6th round of the championship, the 26th of February. That one I'm looking forward to. Adelaide, the 5th of March. I'm off to the ACT that weekend. More on that a little bit later. But we'll still find a way to bring that one to you. March 12, we go to Miami. So we go back to where GT4 is about to be. Then to the Nürburgring. That's on the Nordschleife for 60 minutes. And then, of course, the super sprint from the island to bring the curtain down on the campaign on March 26th. Excellent stuff. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks to Adam Lavis. Thanks to all our crew that make it possible for us to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We've got GT4 from last night into the Porsches from last night coming up next. Keep your eyes peeled. If you go to the GSRC YouTube page, the link should already be there. And if you hit subscribe and hit the notification button, you should be alerted as to when that's going on air. On behalf of Adam and myself for the moment, it's time for a pit stop and a coffee top-up. We look forward to your company as this marathon day of GSRC action continues for you on the back of what was exhilarating racing at the Monza circuit in Italy. A full field for the open split. It's brought about a first for the GSRC Porsche Cup, 3 splits for the balance of the season going forward. More on that. We'll elaborate on who's jumped up, who's jumped down, who's stayed when we get to the Imola circuit. But join us shortly when we head to Miami and the continuation of Disruptive Labs GT4. Until then, good afternoon.